Begin transmission.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Give me a shout out, folks. Can you hear me? Give me a 5x5 if you do. Can you see me? I'm having pretty rough. I'm going to bring Jones. Morning, Jonezer. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Fantastic Toy Adventures. I'm Bill. This is MOTU Jonezer. And my internet connection is stable. I've had to reboot twice. I'm having some serious issues this morning. To top that off, I've had 2 hours of sleep. And I had to go to Batesville today because my wife's car conked out on her.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
How serious a conk
Headed to
out
work
was that?
this morning and something went places. Well, it ain't what I thought it was, to tell you the truth. She told me the oil light came on and that she rattling sound. And I'm like, oh shit, she done threw a rod. Well, I called my future son-in-law to go there and meet me where she car parked. To where to the lady's house that she works at as a carer, that she walked on into work and just left the car parked in a parking lot. He gets over there and we and you get a hell of a noise. I drove it down to the where it could get fixed, so I could just park her, and she'll catch a ride in the morning because she's got to work all night. Anyway, we popped open the hood and looked underneath there. Very center of the engine where I guess the spark plug or whatever they are now, have been the fuel engine. Right in the center, there's a connector that goes in there. Connector that goes in there, switch or something sits down in there. That was off. So back on there, trunk the car up and it popped out, and that was making all that noise. So something can replace fixed. So oil light that it was on, it was, but there's coolant in it, and there was no reason for the temperature light to be on unless there was a bad connector connected. So I came home, get everything set up, threw together a thumbnail I worked very hard on. Sorry, guys. But got that done, and then I started trying to get connected. And I had some serious issues. So I rebooted the computer, probably a mistake. It
You're
seems
still
that
having
Windows
a
has
little bit
decided to
of
update itself.
when you're describing about the car, we
Yeah,
were getting
I'm
maybe
pretty
every
sure.
other word. I got the gist of it, but yeah, we were
Nice.
getting maybe every other word.
Nice. Yeah, my connectors. Yeah, this is gonna be it's gonna be a pretty rough show, folks. I'm gonna lose some viewers over. It connection is stable to unstable and stable to unstable constantly. Is connection, and some of that is the machine. I'm keeping OBS all together. That means toy cam. What toy cam some today because I don't want to open the figure right there. For one thing, go off some of my uh, figures and how that goes. I don't know. I had to read the computer. Yes, it's not playing well. Here I go. Fuck. Hello.
Well, that word came through.
Welcome to Shit Show, folks. It's going.
Yeah, well, I'll do my best to try to fill
Yeah.
in the blanks when I can. I think the hardest part for that is to try to predict
Have
when you're
fun,
going
man,
out.
because this gonna be a fucking roller coaster ride.
Right.
There's no prediction on that. And as I
You
told
know
you
what
last
though?
night, I don't hear anything that y'all are saying on that.
Yeah. It comes in like like that. Like that's kind of how it goes for us.
So it's consistently doing that right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but like I
Man.
said, you get
All right.
periods where you're good, like you're good now. Till I said it.
Right. I don't know. Like I said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill OBS, and I'm going to use the laptop. In order to do that, I've got to leave the studio for just a minute. You up, but I'm going to, if you don't mind, and that'll kind of fill in. We'll see how things go there. Let's see. What do we want to play? Some commercials. What would you like to hear?
It doesn't matter to me, my friend. We are experiencing some technical
difficulties. And say, "Oh, can you please check your internet?" Over here, hello. Bill, try cutting the video feed a bit. Yeah, you can see how that works. Error. Try again. Yeah. Hey, I like now, John. Better now that I killed the video feed.
You know, your voice seems better, but yeah, I can't tell. I don't know. Maybe we could try that, but oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I was going to ask Guy like Salt if he got the email message that I sent him back.
I did not pre-order.
Okay. Kill OBS and start this cam floor. With be back. If not, then you're on your own.
I am not really sure what happened there or what I'm hearing, but it sounds like Bill's having some technical difficulties. He's going to be working on it. A video might play or something like that, or I will entertain you in the best fashion that I am able to do so. So here we are. I found this baby at Target the other day. Stinking glare. This is the Masters of the Universe Deluxe from the Masterverse. I know this is usually a show about Origins, but I'd have to say I'm a fan of the Masterverse stuff as well. But I think I like anything Masters of the Universe here. I did not pre-order Snake Mountain last night. I guess I was just too tired after the show and fell asleep. I am not really worried about it. I do think the link will be up on Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, and they'll be readily available, I think, to anybody who wants one. I'm fairly certain they're aware of how ravenous the fans are for a Snake Mountain. And I don't really have a fear of missing out on that bad boy because I have a vintage one. The only thing I'm really super excited about with the new Snake Mountain would be the Bone Throne. There's our guy.
Let's see how it's now. I'll see how it's doing now. Am I better?
So far, so good.
All right. So I've narrowed this down. We've got some software conflict issues. Running OBS to do all the bells and whistles is going to be out for today. Running a second cam may not be in the works either. What I'm going to try to do here, I'm going to see if this will do the trick. You know, you never know how this works. Let's see.
I would say your connection is 1,000% better, Bill, right now.
Yeah, no OBS is running. I'm running strictly off of the built-in web camera on my laptop. I'm not running any external cameras through the computer. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to get another camera going a different way, an old-fashioned way. And here we go. Let's see if this will do the trick.
Only here, ladies and gentlemen, at Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures, will you see us troubleshoot technical difficulties in the middle of the live stream, like a circus high wire act.
Like clowns. Like clowns. Clowns, buddy, clowns.
Yeah, but clowns that win because you fixed it.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a second cam started the old way. But in order to do that, I've got to get coming in from a different location. Where's my mail? There we go. And copy this. So, MOTU Jonezer, tell everybody what you've been up to the last few days.
Well, I did a video where I was playing with my She-Ra dolls, so that was kind of fun.
Oh boy, playing with girl dolls.
Yeah, I got me Frosta here. Her hair changes color in the warm and cold water, so I did a little video where I demonstrated that. And you know, I mean, I know you don't really care for the Masterverse figures, Bill, or you're not really big on the classics, but
no, it's not that. It's that funds are limited.
oh, gotcha. Got to buy what you're into, and if you're gonna start something, you can't finish it. Why bother?
That is it. You got it, man.
Yeah, I was the same way with a few toy lines that I was interested in. Those Marvel Legends, for one, I really wanted to get, but you know, I can't buy all this MOTU stuff and then buy that as well.
That's right.
You know, and then you know me, I kind of work the hustle where I'm selling some nerdydom to pay for some nerdydom. So I'm trying to fund my own addiction, like the crackhead that sells crack, only it's toys and comics.
Speaking of which, tell us how the comic sales have been going here lately.
The show wasn't as good as the one I did before. If y'all don't know, I did a card and comic collectible show at the mall. And this is my second time at this event. And we're doing it again here in October or September. They're not buttoning down the date yet. But I probably did half the sales.
Hold on.
Oh. Not sure what happened here. Oh, here we go. Looks like we got toy cam.
Yeah, that's what happened. I had to stop the microphones from interfering with one another there.
Oh, gotcha.
And I've had that trouble before. We'll just take the toy cam down here for right now, and it'll just be us. And
sure.
We'll get it where I can look down at you and you can look up at me, or we can do it a different way. But I kind of like it like this because I have to look down all the time, so it looks like I'm actually looking at you.
Oh, well, there you go.
And then if you kind of look up, then you can pretend like that you're actually talking to me about, you know, so you know, we can do like they used to do on the old TV shows, you know, when they would have a split screen, the people would actually be looking at each other like. That doesn't happen in reality. But anyway,
Hollywood Squares. What's funny is in real life the video feed for you is on this side, but I have to point this way, so I have to go the opposite.
That's something that you have to get used to, and
right.
I have yet to get completely used to it, but you know, I have to remember that if I want to tell people to subscribe,
right.
Like, comment, and share, I have to remember which hand to use because instinctively I want to use this one.
Right.
Because everything is flipped around backwards.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like in reality, the Castle Grayskull is on this side of me, but I got to point that way to get it. Or I don't, it's weird.
It's because we're used to looking at ourselves in a mirror, which is why our cams on our phones are mirrored, so that we we're instinctively used to looking at ourselves in the mirror. That's why when we look at a picture of ourselves, we think we look weird, It's because we're used to seeing ourselves backwards all the time in the mirror.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why sometimes when you look at a YouTube video, especially one that someone is showing some material on that they're not supposed to be showing, to keep from getting a copyright strike, they'll mirror it.
Yeah, I've seen that. They
And
flip it.
you'll watch it and you go, I've seen this before, but something's off about it.
Right.
Everybody looks weird in it, but it's because they're backwards. But yeah, that's some deep shit there that we're talking. But yeah. So what just happened? You might all wonder. Well, I've got some conflicting software issues. OBS is not going to do the trick because it's taking up some resources that's causing my browser to run slow. Well, StreamYard is browser based, which means if everything's running slow in my browser, it appears like I'm getting a bad internet connection when in reality, I'm really not. This is my normal internet connection right here. This is my normal way that I look. In order to use the cams on these phones, I have to run software on the computer, one for each camera. Now, the reason that this cam's not interfering now is because I'm actually running that camera. Here, let's do it like that so we can see it better. There we go. I'm actually running that cam right there through directly off of this phone over here, connected with Safari into a StreamYard connection. So it is not interfering with this computer in any way, form, or fashion. It's over there minding its own business, being a toy cam. But no fancy overlays on my screen. I'll have to rely upon what StreamYard is doing here for me. Resources are at a minimum on my laptop, so therefore I've got to do this. I can only run maybe one piece of cam software at a time if I want to use the nice fancy cameras. How does my screen look to you, MOTU?
You know, you're on a cell phone for me, but it doesn't look bad, or it looks at least as clear as the toy cam in mine does to me, but I'm on a tiny screen, or as a screen the size of a cell phone.
Hold on a second. Jonezer has a channel? Well, sure he does, Boba Hicks. You need to join it if you haven't already. And Gojatron, if you wouldn't mind, please throw up MOTU Jonezer's link to his channel so that everyone can subscribe to him. This is great. Back again. All right. And said, we better call the Jameson family and get you a new home computer. I hear Peter is a whiz at word processing. He's a whiz at something. I think he's a whiz at heating up spoons.
Probably now.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, have you ever wondered why they sell shoelaces at the convenience stores in the bad part of town? I used to wonder that because I didn't realize why they sold shoelaces and Chore Boy and all that crap at the damn bad convenience store.
This comment here from Boba Hicks, have you seen that?
Have you ever listened to Jim Cornette's rant about his shitty internet connection? I can only imagine because I've heard
it's everything you're imagining and more, dude. It is great.
Yeah,
I love me some Jimmy Cornette.
I do too, man. I do too. Much better now. He says Boba Hicks. Okay, cool. No copyright law in the mirror universe. The Third World War will be fought over a software conflict. You might be right. I mean, he might be on this. I think the Third World War is being fought over the internet right now.
I agree.
I think one side all has green and blue hair, and they're lunatics. Jack Specific Mario, yes. I bought that Mario figure last year at the Walmart in Helena, Arkansas. And I meant to unbox that thing last year. It's been sitting over here for almost an entire year. He might be dead because he's been suffocating inside that plastic. He can't breathe.
Well, I must have been mentally in tune with you, Bills. I got the old Mario shirt on today.
I have not seen the new Mario movie. Have you seen the new Mario movie?
Lyric's older sister took him and my older son Taylor to the movie, and they came back loving it. And Lyric, he's got a funny way with words. He's 9, you know, and he's on the spectrum for autism disorder. So sometimes he says some wild stuff. He comes back and he goes, "Oh, Dad, I was watching the movie and I had so much nostalgia." I'm like, "Man, what do you mean nostalgia? You're freaking 9 years old. Like your whole life is nostalgia right now."
Yeah. Well, he's just catching some feels for what he likes to play. Does he like to play old school Mario Nintendo?
Yes, he does. He actually, a lot of the times when I'm cutting my videos that he's not in, he's
Yeah.
right over there playing my Nintendo on mute.
Well,
You know,
I remember a long time ago there, Jonezer. I think it's back when I first started watching your channel. That was back when you used to try to get Lyric to be in the channel instead of just letting him be when he wants to be.
right?
And you had the video cut such that he was in there, and then you were trying to get him to be in there, and then suddenly you were just doing the video, and you could see him in his little look like some kind of little animal slippers, and he's playing Nintendo right there beside you as you continue your video.
Yeah,
He never looked around at the camera or anything; he just played the video, and that's kind of I just remember that.
Well, when I first got him on, I used to try to coach him and try to make him follow a script or do what I wanted. And I realized with all he's got going on in his brain, the best stuff I got out of Lyric was when I just let him say what he wants, do what he wants. If he wants to be there, he's there. If he wants to walk off, he walks off. And yeah, it's funny, and all the skits or the jokes or whatever we do, they're all off the cuff. I can't plan him, because he won't remember it anyway. We did a couple skits where we were like Batman and Robin. We had like a loose idea of what we were going to do, and a lot of it's just flying off the cuff.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty cool. That was pretty damn cool.
But yeah, when he wants to be on, I don't try to force him to do it. If he wants to, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Sometimes it's funny if you know where to look for it. I'll be doing the video and you can hear him off to the side having some Nintendo rage because some of those old Nintendo games are hard. You can hear him like,
I've heard that before. I've often wondered. I said, I wonder what Lyric's up to over there. Well,
losing at Mario or Zelda or something.
Absolutely. Well, so what am I planning on doing today? Well, I'm going to open that Mario figure for one thing, and for another, I'm going to show off at least on camera once each and every figure that I have in my cases over here.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and last year, I think when I started this channel, what really got me going, I just out of I used to do these videos, where I would take several pictures of my toy collection, such as say Doctor Who. I did that a long time ago. I'm gonna re-upload that to YouTube and call it a Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure Classic, and just re-upload it and let everybody see it one more time, even though it's all already there. But what I did, I used the opening theme from Doctor Who, redid it just slightly, so that it looked like you were going to watch an episode of Doctor Who. But when Tom Baker kind of swoops out at the camera on that old school thing, instead of actually Tom Baker, it's the figure of Tom Baker coming out. And then behind it, comes the toy TARDIS instead of the real TARDIS, and then it cuts into a montage or a slideshow of pictures of my different Doctor Who figures in paper dioramas that I built that evoke the scenes from the show, set to some Doctor Who music, some of the background music that you would hear in various episodes, which got a copyright ding, but I didn't care. Well, I decided to do the same thing with my Masters of the Universe collection Origins, with what little I had at the time, at the end of I guess it was 2021 going into 2022, right before, I think it was right around Thanksgiving or getting close to Christmas when I put that up. And the damn thing went viral. It got like 25,000 views. And that kind of led me into trying to, get a channel going, making videos. And that's when I made some of the videos that got you guys watching me, especially you, Jonezer. Basically, it was videos recreating some of the old stories from the storybooks using the actual action figures. I intend to continue doing that, folks, but that takes a lot of effort to do that and time. But anyway, and so I need to redo that video with the figures that I have now and see if it will go viral like that first one did, so I can get back all those views that all those viewing hours that I just lost now that that one is a year old. So your 4,000 hours have to be in a 1 year period of time. So
I thought
yeah,
it was accumulative.
no. If it were cumulative, I would have been monetized last year, at the end of last year, right before the beginning of.
Do you have to have both check marks? You have to have the 1,000 subscribers and.
Well, you got. Well, it used to be you had to have two. You had to have 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 viewing hours within a year's period of time. The 4,000. Now they've added the shorts to it, so if you can get what is that, 10 million views, 10 million views on your shorts, then that's a third option. So you could have two of those three. So if those guys who are doing all those shorts, there's guys. Have you seen? They have millions of viewers. They have no videos and nothing but shorts.
My wife put one on of just her feeding her brother's puppy, and she got like, I can't even remember what it was, like thousands and thousands of views on her first one. And then when anyone she did after that was, almost negligible.
Cat video is probably what John. And even though I'm better, the internet connection still is kind of iffy, on my cable connection. But maybe it won't be nearly as bad. Shaitan's hammer.
That's the first little blip we've got.
Yeah, not too bad considering, and that's normal. Even with the big guys like Grindhead Jim. I mean, he'll blip every now and again, and it'll be just like that, real quick. Jack Black plays Donkey Kong. Thank you, Shaitan's hammer.
Actually, I hate to interject there, but I want to say Jack Black was King Koopa. I believe Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, if I'm mistaken.
All right. Well, I haven't seen it. I don't know. I
haven't either, but I watched a review of the movie and whatnot, and I believe I've got that right.
And Susudio says, I couldn't sleep last night and was watching MeTV, which that's what I watch too. It's like old fart channel, all cool stuff on it. Fell asleep during Lost in Space. I've done that before. However, when I woke up, MTV was showing the Thunderbirds. How weird is that? Oh man, I remember the Thunderbirds. I don't know where or when or how I watched the Thunderbirds, but that was a cool damn show back in the day. And they made some toys too. Somebody showed them off on their channel here a while back. Your video feed looks great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. If you had been here earlier, John, you would have watched me fix that live.
That was wild. That was a weird and fantastic adventure, Bill.
Yeah, well, it actually it answered a lot of questions that I've been having for probably since the beginning of the year about my internet connection and what's going on here. And it all goes back to running too much shit at the same time. And OBS, I just can't run it. I can't do that. As much as I would like to be able to do all that really, really neat stuff that OBS will let me do. Wow. Hello, Bill and Jonezer. Hello, everyone in chat. Happy Sunday to all, and happy Sunday to you too. Welcome, Susudio, says Adam. Welcome to you, Adam. And might have been Christmas, since I'm pretty sure that's when I found you. Okay. The mini comics recreation Christmas special I watched over and over and over again. Yeah, the Christmas special was fun. I need to do another one. I wanted to do one this Christmas, and I really didn't get a chance. I think the closest thing I did to it was a Christmas message from the King. Did you see that?
I don't know if I did. It's not ringing a bell.
Oh my God. It's past Christmas. I'm not going to show that again on here, but go back down the list of my stuff and watch the Christmas message from the King. I think you will enjoy that, Jonezer. I
will do that.
And if you do watch it, go to the comment section and leave me a little comment and tell me how much you did enjoy it.
I usually do when I watch something that from somebody. I like to haunt the comments section. Yeah, there.
And that's something that we all need to get used to doing. Even us creators.
Yes, especially us.
Yeah, when we go and watch another creator's video, we need to hop in those comments and leave a comment. We're always sitting there begging everybody else to do that. Well, why don't we do it too?
Correct. I think we can all grow together, and this is a great community, and I've noticed the more we support each other, the more we get supported.
No, Radical. I'm not saying the 4,000 is reset to 0. From today, 365 days. Okay. That's where that's how they count your viewing hours. From today back 365 days. So tomorrow, anything that you made 365 days, 366 days ago drops off. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense, Jonezer?
Yeah, I get you.
All right, and I hope Adam understands that. Okay,
it's basically if that 4,000 accumulated is not staying at 4,000 or above, if it falls off,
right? Everything back here begins to fall away. So, say you had a viral video that's giving you a lot of viewing hours, but it's 363 days ago that you did it. Well, 2 days later, those viewing hours drop off from when that video is no longer being counted. And then
so basically what I'm understanding, if you struck lightning once, that's going to be good. But if you don't strike it again, that's going to be detrimental.
Mm-hmm. And I can understand that because they're looking for consistency.
Correct. I get that too. I also, a lot of people complain about YouTube moving the goalposts for the creators, but quite honestly, I think they're weeding out the weak because that 100 subscriber milestone, a lot of people don't get it. They just give up,
Yeah, or if they do get it, then they don't keep working. See, that's the thing about it. Right. Each goal that you try to get to is not a goal to get to and then quit working.
Right.
A good example of that is when I first started riding in motorcycle clubs. In order to be in a motorcycle club, you have to go through several different stages. You become a hang-around when you hang around a club. They're not responsible for you. You're not beholden to them, but you try to attend to their functions whenever you can. And you become an official hang-around. They'll give you a patch to wear on the front of your vest that says hang-around. And let people know that you're hanging around with them. At that point, you begin to make strong friendships with everyone in the club to the point to where one of the members will sponsor you to be a prospect or a prospective member of the club. That's a whole different ball game. That's sort of like going into basic training. You're now a piece of crap being molded into an individual like a Marine Corps recruit or an Army basic trainee. You're at the beck and call of everybody in the club. You're dirt. You're going to do all the mud work. You're going to get hazed. You're going to learn motorcycle club protocol, and you're going to do it at a fast rate of speed. And hopefully, you will earn your full patch in 90 days' time. But that doesn't necessarily mean you will. That just means that that's the shortest period of time in which you can. It may be a year later before you get it, or even longer, depending upon whether your club is one of the preeminent clubs, let's just say. So, what happens when you earn that full patch on your back and now you're a full-fledged member of the club? Is it time to sit back on your laurels? Oh, no. Now the hard work begins, because now you got to keep that patch on your back, and that's harder than being a prospect, friend.
Yeah, I'm actually very familiar with the politics of certain motorcycle clubs. I had some family members that were affiliated out in California. I will not name the club, but it's a famous one that you would know the name if I said it. You know.
Well, I can say some euphemisms. Big Red Machine.
Yeah, well, what the hell, eh? They've been known as the Angels from Below, I suppose.
The 8-1. Yeah,
There you go.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and everyone here should, because they're one of the most preeminent clubs in the world.
Correct.
Although I think the Red and Gold are a lot nicer group of individuals personally, but I'm biased because they control my area.
Right. You know, and my thing is, like, I had some family members that were involved, or hang-arounds or prospects or whatever you might call it. And so I had been around these type of people, but I never went forward with any of that, or never tried to join them, or nothing like that.
Well, it's not a game for young folks like it used to be, I don't guess, and that it's kind of hard to get young folks to get into the game, because they're weaker than we used to be, for one thing. But I didn't start clubbing until I was in my late 30s. And I'm just kind of rolling through the chats here. Shaitan's Hammer says, I remember, because I just bought Origins, He-Man, and Skeletor and Green Goddess, and we're looking for YouTube videos about Origins on Christmas Day evening. Yeah. And then I found Weird Fantastic Toys. And Bo Hicks says, Bill, as a biker guy, were you a fan of the TNA wrestling faction Aces and Eights? I remember when Aces and Eights were wrestling, and I remember trying to look at the back of their cuts just to see I wanted to see what all fuckery that they had sewed on the back of their cuts, and I never did get a really good image of it, because I wanted to see if they put some shit on there they didn't have any business putting on there, like diamonds and stuff like that.
Right.
But the problem I have is I've been so involved in this clubbing that I can watch Sons of Anarchy and it pisses me off.
Yeah, you know, the family member that I've referred to, he has the same problem.
Yeah, well,
does not enjoy the show.
I've got a sticker on my helmet that says "Fuck Sam Crow."
Yeah, that's funny.
and that was sold by another club here in the area, and a bunch of us were at a function where they were selling that, and we're like, we're all buying that and sticking it on our helmets. But yeah, and yeah, it's hard, and you know, car clubs want to sit there and do the 3-piece patch thing, and I guess, and then you have these social clubs that start doing it, if you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
And they want to pretend like, because now that they're wearing a 3-piece patch, that they sit on the same pedestal as a motorcycle club. No, you do not. And then you have the fan of the Sons of Anarchy who goes on to Evil Bay and sees a full patch set of Sons of Anarchy set there for sale, and he buys it, and he goes and buys him a nice, clean, brand new leather vest and sews all that shit on it, and then thinks that he can walk around in public with that on.
Well, I'm gonna tell you a little story of my little experience. I was a teenager when I was around these type of individuals, and I was a drummer in a rock band, so I was allowed to be at their deal, even though I was not officially a hang around or anything like that. I just had a family member who was involved, but I saw an individual walk into said event who was not supposed to be there, wearing stuff he was not supposed to be wearing. And they politely asked him to remove it, and he basically was made to.
I can imagine how he was made to as well. The best way I can describe that to a civilian who doesn't understand, especially somebody who can't grasp basic concepts of life. These are the ones that go, by God, I'm an American and I'm free and I can do anything I want to do in America.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure, you
Just
certainly may. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do if you're willing to fight for it and suffer the consequences for it.
Correct.
For instance, the best way I can describe all of this is, so there's a slough or a little recessed lake that's kind of like a swamp, and there's a sign out there that says no swimming. I'm free, by God. I can go do anything I want to do. I can swim in that if I want to. You go right ahead. You're free to do whatever you want to. And the alligators that live in there are free to do whatever they want to as well.
It reminds me of a joke. Guy comes from the FDA to inspect the old farmer's farm, and he comes around and he says, "I'm here to inspect your cattle and your sheep and all of your things you got." The farmer says, "Yep, that's good, but whatever you do, just don't go into that fence over there." And the guy gets mad and he says, "You know what? You don't understand what this is. I don't need your permission to go in there. You see this badge? This badge tells me I can go anywhere I want to. So if you don't like that, that's too bad." And the farmer says, "Okay." So the guy goes in there, and then next thing you know, he hears some screaming, and he sees the bull chasing the guy out the pen, and the farmer runs up and he says, "Your badge! Show him your fucking badge!"
Absolutely. And Gojatron brings up a good point. Stolen valor falls in the same category. Uniform, you can't wear the uniform.
Correct. And it's an insult to those who
Cracker Barrel
that.
Waffle House. Right. Cracker Barrel, Waffle House, Denny's Club count, Sam's Club. All right. Let's tell you the difference between a riding club and a motorcycle club. All right. So if you go and you buy a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle after you've won the lottery or whatever, got rich, like a lot of these guys do, they watch Sons of Anarchy and they got a little money in their pocket, and now they're going to go down and buy them a Harley Davidson and be a motorcycle rider. Well, when you buy your first Harley Davidson motorcycle, you automatically get a 1-year membership in the Hog Club, which is the motorcycle riding club that's associated and run by Harley Davidson motorcycles. And there's a lot of guys in that club, and it's a big club, but it is a riding club, which means that you purchase your patches, you don't earn them, and it's just a motorcycle riding club. It's not an actual motorcycle club. There's no real brotherhood involved, although some of the members can, gain that between themselves. It's not like being in an actual motorcycle club. But yeah, Bill and Jonezer, I'm going to have to go. Dad's expecting me a little later, and I need to get ready to go. You take care, Dad. What about the Bullet Club? All of that kayfabe wrestling stuff is not reality, guys, but it's fun to watch. But reality is a lot more nuanced, let's just say. I just want food. So food clubs. I got you, John. You take care of yourself, get you some food. Wild Hogs. Yeah, I saw that movie. That was kind of funny. The Del Fuegos were based upon that preeminent club we were speaking of earlier. As a matter of fact, I think the real Del Fuegos sued the shit out of them. The ones that are red and white in a big red machine. I don't know if that lawsuit actually won anything. They probably got paid some money to leave them alone. They got lawyers,
Right.
Well, it's still real to me, Dad. It's still real to me, damn it. Okay, I get it. Let's get back to the toys, damn it. Let's get back to the toys. All right, so first of all, we got Mario here. And I'm going to bring Mario, and I'm going to take him out of the package because I've always wanted to have a little Mario figure that I think will be about the right size to hang out with all the guys over here. Now, Mr. Home Arcade took the head off of this Mario and stuck it on an actual MOTU body and made an Origins MOTU Mario figure. Well,
I've seen that.
Yeah, that's cool, and I love the shit out of that. And Mr. Home Arcade does an excellent job of doing those. But I'm going to leave my Mario as is, but I've got to cut these little tabby things that hold him in the package. There we go. And I'm going to bring him out. There he is.
It's me, a Mario.
Absolutely. All right, let's see here. And I'm going to solo that and zoom in on old Mario there. If I can. There we go. There he is. There's old Mario. And what's the little mushroom guy's name, MOTU?
Toad.
All right. There's a Toad here next to him. There we go. All right. Now let's see if we can get in there a little closer. What you got to see in there. So there we got Mario and we got Toad.
Oh, that's a little mushroom for when he grows in size, ain't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's me, Mario. It's hard to type that in sounds. It sounds like Mario. Yeah. Every time I hear it's me, it's Mario, or I see that written, I say it in that way in my mind. Anyway, there we go. So got him out of the package, and now he can hang out with everybody. And I wanted to show off these figures. What are you working on there, Jonezer?
Oh, just trying to stick Frosta back in the box.
Yeah, I ended up putting a lot of my stuff back in the box, like Mechanic. I'm not going to show him today because he went back in the box with the ground ripper, and that's put away. The Roton is put away right now, but I've got these figure cases here behind me, and I'm going to bring them out one by one, and we're going to go through them and show the figures. Most of these figures are exactly the way they came out of the package, but some of them have been slightly customized by me in one way or another. Let's check the chat real quick. Adam says, "Oh, that's just a mushroom. Toss the bigger guy." Mario fell to eternity. Toad. The 8-bit music is repeating in my mind as I watch this. And Susudio's clapping and gives us some kisses and love. That doesn't look anything like Bob Hoskins. I have all my Masterverse back in the box. Ran out of room. Can you hum that for me there?
I think that's what we're doing.
I think that's exactly what he's doing. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. All right. So I'm going to bring up the toy cam on over here so that we can sit over here off to the side and watch what I'm doing here. And I'll take the brand logos off the screen there and maybe move them just slightly. How
There we
about
go.
that? Yeah, that's better. All right, now, and let's see if we can show off some figures. First of all, I've got some figures that are out of the box, and we saw Zodak last week. He's riding in his cosmic chair. Did you get a chance to see that last week there, Jonezer?
I did. I caught the replay on the.
What do you think? What do you think about that custom job that I got there of that cosmic chair?
That is very, very cool. That looks like I feel like it should.
Yeah, and I don't mind it being silver. I was toying with the idea of maybe painting that thing orange so that it looks like the original Throne orange, like the original DC comic version of that.
Sure.
Didn't Paul Kupperberg, was he the one that was involved in that?
I'm not sure. I would say though that this color choice with the silver, I think it really works for the cosmic, idea of him flying through space. It kind of goes with the boots and the gray tones on the helmet, and it makes the red pop. So I think it works. Where orange would just look silly.
I agree. All right, so we got Zodak here in his cosmic chair, and the reason I'm showing him is because I have one of these boxes. I call my original 8 box. And you know what I mean by original 8, right?
Absolutely. First wave.
That's it. All right. The first figure is, of course, He-Man. And you guys will probably notice that the head on this He-Man is not the head that you get when you buy an Origins He-Man figure. This is an actual resin pour sculpt of the original He-Man head. Let's see if I can get him to stand on his own there. All right, so what is special about this figure? Well, the harness and the waist and the boots come from the original release. Where did they release that? At San Diego Comic-Con?
I was just going to ask you if that's what it was because I saw the boot knife there.
Yeah. Now, I did not use the legs and the arms and the butt from that because they are different colors from the release of the Origins figure.
Okay.
Slightly different skin tones. I kind of like the release version skin tone better. It looks more tan and instead of pink and orange. It's weird. But anyway, I did highlight his hair just slightly with a little bit of lighter orange. But excuse me, actually it was yellow. The hair is kind of an orangey color, but it kind of looks a little more, I don't know, you can see it better. And of course he came with a half sword, an axe, and a shield. Now the axe here you can see has the blade painted in silver because that came from that set that we were talking about earlier.
Right.
And so did the shield. I wanted them to match the color there on his harness. And I chose that harness because the square right here where it attaches is red as well, which is just exactly like it was in that first original mini comic.
Now, Bill, what would be the difference between this custom head and the one, say, that came with a later release MOTU Origins He-Man where it had the vintage style head?
Well, why don't we compare them? Or as Pixel Dan would say, it's comparison time.
There you go.
All right, I have a box here in one of these boxes, an Origins head.
Because that's the one that's on my Origins He-Man. I threw that other one into the scrap pile and put that one in.
He looked like somebody, but he didn't look like He-Man, and I can't for the life of me come up with who that figure reminds me of, but he's reminding me of somebody. He looks familiar in the face.
You know, and I can't remember who else I discussed this with, but He-Man's head sculpt is one of the more difficult ones to get right. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it's hard to explain what's wrong about it, but I can just tell you that that original release was not it.
All right. Can you guys see that? Is that coming in clear there?
Yep, I got it.
All right.
Okay. There's some slight difference in hair and eyes. His eyes are a little more, I'd say, squinted in yours, whereas they're a little more open in that one. And I would say the expression is a lot more menacing in the one on your figure than the one in your hand. You know, he looks a little more battle ready. Like,
He looks a little bit more. He looks tougher, doesn't he?
yeah, I agree. He looks like
Yeah.
he's ready to get it, whereas the other one looks like he's trying to scare you off with a look that's not working for him.
Well, I will say this about this head here: it's better than the head that they originally put on there. That head was
1000%.
supposed to look like the Alcala mini comic head. It did not. It I don't know. It was all wrong.
It was definitely better than the one we got, and that's the one that's currently on my Origins He-Man. I put that head on there because it hit it hit the nostalgia vibe better than the other one did.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a head on your He-Man and you don't have access to Lee Customs to get you a head like this is the head to go for sure. And I remember I bought Battle Armor He-Man just so I could get that head.
Right. Well, and they must have learned from their mistake because they re-released the vanilla He-Man or original He-Man with a sword and that head.
Well, that brings up a pretty good point there, Jonezer. This whole line has been an experiment since day one. It seems to me like.
Yes.
I mean, we come out with the girl figures with these fat cylinder knees that looked horrible.
Yeah, and then they corrected that too.
They corrected that midstream. I mean, whoever heard of a toy company actually doing that?
You know, I mean, I would say that these people are definitely paying attention to the fans or the fan base. Now, they're not catching all the memos, obviously,
No,
but they are definitely listening and altering course as they've went.
Well, and that's another point. I mean, some of us listen to gurus, and some of us watch him skeptically and pick up things here or there. But he is on to something. But there's something else that in any other time period would already be dead by now. But they're doing everything they can to keep this line available to those of us who want it in one way or another. So I'll give them their dues on that one.
Sure. No, yeah. I never expected to see it return,
or even go for as far as it has. Look how far it's gone. And we still have figures. We still have figures and play sets that are coming out. It's because that stuff has already been tooled up.
I remember when Origins was first announced, and my biggest hope was, well, I hope they at least get the original 8 out. If they anything more than that would be a bonus. And they have above and beyond my expectations for what would come out. Now,
absolutely.
Trying to collect it without it being a pain in the ass is another ball of wax. But
well, my whole goal when I saw these figures available was to get the original 8.
Same.
I've gone a little bit beyond that, to say the very least. But yeah, the original 8 was what I wanted. Now, of course, I do have a full power sword for him to have. Now, that's my He-Man. And that was the first figure to highlight today. The next figure is going to be Skeletor. And here is my go-to Skeletor. And I'm going to show his accessories as well. Since the beginning video that you've ever watched, this Skeletor has evolved over time to become, in my opinion, my ultimate Skeletor. And he uses body parts from the Lords of Power set especially the shin guards, because if you remember that original mini comic, he had shin guards that went halfway around his leg, and they weren't furry. They were looked like metal and had little skulls on them. There we go. See that?
I do.
And he also had kind of beastly toed feet, not those clawed feet that we got with our figure.
Right.
Lee Customs took care of that for me as well with some special custom feet for the Skeletor. And I painted his harness here. This is not the harness that came with the Lords of Power set. You'll see that in a minute on another figure, or it's actually in the Lords of Power box, which I'm not pulling out. I painted this myself to evoke that, but I also wanted to get those bones and that gem in the middle of the chest with that metal around it accentuated just slightly. And then you see the head, of course, is a sculpt of the original vintage figures head by Lee Customs in resin, and made and painted by Lee Customs to match the color there of that Skeletor. Now, the lighting is a little muted here. Let's see if we can see that green. Can you, as I try to, can you see the green around his skull that's been painted?
I see that at the top where it kind of reminds me of like a Terraclaws Skeletor with that green.
Yeah, the light's kind of blinding a little bit here and not letting you actually see the colors on that very well. But that head just looks just exactly like a vintage head, except for just there's a little pink that they put in those original heads. It's not in this. He didn't go that far with it, but of course he came with a half power sword, which I have here, and of course, just like He-Man's, I cut the rest of that handle off of there so that it's it doesn't have that extra piece in there. Don't worry, folks. I have so many damn power swords and half power swords that I've got a full one around here somewhere. So
same.
every time you buy a figure for customization, you get more and more and more power swords. So I've got
a crap pile of Man-at-Arms heads and clubs and all this stuff.
Yeah, I've got a here. I'll pull it out and show it to you. It's within reach, I believe.
And I will say here, without going on a full rant about it, with you get the alternate heads for He-Man with the other versions of the figure. I will say I think they did a little better with the alternate heads for Skeletor than they did He-Man. Like they had him with the mean face with the metal armor, and they had him with kind of a frowny face. And I do think that the one with the open mouth, I liked it, but I do think they gave you a lot of good options.
Exactly, and if you're into making YouTube videos or just videos for yourself in general, and doing a little bit of stop motion, those heads with those different facial expressions can be used and utilized in that fashion. Mr. Home Arcade, once again, I'll shout him out. If you watch his video, Skeletor has a lot of emotion, much more than He-Man. Drunk He-Man's got one facial expression. Skeletor has multiple facial expressions, and he uses those different heads to evoke that in his videos. So we've got Skeletor here, and we've got his power sword, and we've got his Havoc staff. And I was going to show you my box. Oh crap! As you can see, it's just all kinds of different stuff here in this box. So yeah,
I get one of those.
Yeah, my wife is into cross stitch, and cross stitchers have little boxes like this that they sell at Walmart in the ladies cross stitch and crafty sections, and those things are just wonderful to store stuff in like that.
Yeah, all mine are in a little Ziploc bag. I need to get organized like that. That looks good.
All right, now Jonezer, I'm going to ask you a question and see if you can remember. Let's go back in time to the original storylines, the storybooks that came with the original figures. and possibly even a storybook with a record that came with a play set.
Sure.
What was Skeletor's sword called? And it wasn't a power sword either. It was a whole different sword. Do you remember that sword?
Oh, I don't know if I do. Was it Sword of Chaos or no?
All right. I'll give you a hint. Blank blank, work your spell.
No, it's not hitting me.
Energy blade, work your spell.
Oh, now I feel dumb because I should have known that.
All right. Check that out, brother.
Oh, there it is.
That is Skeletor's energy blade. That is his magical sword that he used to perform magic. He did not carry the half a power sword because he didn't have that in his possession. He was looking for it. Even
Right.
He-Man didn't have that in his possession. Those things were hidden.
Right.
To be found by someone to open Castle Grayskull.
Right. He-Man typically battled with the battle axe.
That's correct. Unlike the Filmation cartoon. But this was Skeletor's sword, his energy blade. So my Skeletor has an energy blade, and he's a little different from what you got when you bought him. So that's Skeletor. Moving on, we'll go through the 8 here. So the next figure that I'm going to bring out is going to be Man-at-Arms. And I'm sure you've seen this figure before if you're a viewer of my channel. But this Man-at-Arms figure is probably one of my favorite figures in the original 8 besides Zodak. And I've done a lot of work with him. But check that out there, Jonezer.
That really pops.
He's got his mace that came with the Lords of Power set. He's got the Lords of Power buck and armor, which evoked the original storybook. He's got his boot knife there. The head does not have a mustache. That is an actual sculpt of the original Man-at-Arms head from back in the day, once again by Lee Customs, cast in resin. So he looks exactly like he did back in the day. Which brings up the question, okay, so the Attorney and Guard heads were supposed to, see if I've got one handy here. I do. Haha. The Attorney and Guard was supposed to have a head that looked like the original Man-at-Arms head so that you could swap it out, right?
Right.
Well, once again, picture band comparison time. Let's compare them. Let's see if they got it right.
Yeah, I can see what's missing right away.
And it's, look at those chins. This one here has got a more pointy chin going on. His head is not as wide as it should be. It just, I don't know. This head here looks better. The helmet's got more detail on it here than this one does. Just a total different look on that head. So no, the Attorney and Guard head just wouldn't have done it for me. I had to go vintage. Sorry, guys.
You see, I got a couple of those Attorney and Guards. I gave Lyric one of those unmustachioed Man-at-Arms heads so he could swap them out. And
yeah,
I got a bunch of them. And it works in a quick fix for the money. But like, yeah, if you're really looking at the detail, it's not there. But for me, I preferred Man-at-Arms with the mustache anyway. So that's how
all of the guys who grew up with Filmation cartoon and weren't really into the old comics or the mini comics or the original figures are kind of the same way, Jonezer. And I don't knock that at all because you what you grow up with, that's what you remember the most.
Sure. And I had a foot in both ponds in that one because, yeah, the Filmation show is probably where I discovered it first. But I had a big love for the original minis and a lot of the different versions of the lore.
Exactly. And I can remember some of the kids would paint with a magic marker a mustache on their Man-at-Arms' head because the figure that they bought at the store didn't have one on it.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that. I didn't mind him without it. And but when the Origins came out, I preferred him to have it.
Of course. And we understand that. So, all right, the next thing we're going to look at here is going to be the backside of Man-at-Arms, because I don't know if you can tell or not, but in that original mini comic, Man-at-Arms had a bear skin cape. And when he was riding in his chariot, you could see it going behind him. My Man-at-Arms has got that bearskin cape.
Well, that is cool.
And the design that I used for that, I actually used for a template the cape that came with the Warlord Remco figure. And I cut that out of felt. It's a little hole there at the top. I just cut it into the felt there, and then took a little piece of black thread and kind of tied it in the front so that it kind of made a little collar there, and pop it over his head, and put the head down over it to hold it down, and it just kind of fills out Man-at-Arms and makes him perfect.
Sure. And one thing I'd point out real quick, Bill, that you probably might not have noticed, I think a lot of fans miss this. In the Masters of the Universe Revelation show, when Man-at-Arms was cast out and he went into the old man mode, they gave him the cape back.
Yeah.
He had the cloak or whatnot, and with the newer Masterverse figure, you got it. You got that little bearskin cape in there. So they were at least paying a little bit attention to what they should have.
There was a lot going on. The problem was that Kevin Smith decided to inject himself in certain areas there, and I don't know whether he was trolling us or whether he thought that he was just furthering the storyline along by poking. But and I can understand that, because a lot of times, characters have to die that you don't want to die and things like that in order to further.
In my opinion, Kevin Smith had no love for this. In my opinion, he had no love for this franchise. He didn't get his foot in the door at Netflix, and that was it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He even lied, and that's the point. None of this other matters. The point was the fact that he lied. He said that he was a major MOTU fan. He was the biggest MOTU fan on the channel, and that he ran home from school every day after school so that he could watch the He-Man cartoon on television.
Nope.
But he must have got held back a long time in school, because he had been a grown man in his 20s running home from school to watch He-Man on TV. And then that old tweet showed up where he said, "I'm not a big fan of He-Man."
Yeah, well, it's even a harsher one where he said this show is for babies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, the lying, the forked tongue, two-faced part, that's what really turned me off to it.
Yeah, well, I do think there are some shots directed at the fans. Like one friend of mine pointed out, the very first scene you see He-Man in, it's a fake. And then the very first time you see Prince Adam, Cringer's in a bubble, and he has to solve the problem by pulling out his little prick. To me, he thinks he's smart, hiding these little jabs at us, but he's not that smart.
No. That's the kind of stuff right there that turns you off to something. No matter how good the animation is and everything, that kind of little stuff right there is just off putting. I'll just say.
Yes.
And before I take Man at Arms away, remember the original comic had that fur around the outside of the armor, which I felt like they should have kept that with the figure. I know they're saving money on tooling, but that just pops, doesn't it? That little that
It does, and it gives them a whole another dynamic or a whole another look.
and before I got my hands on this armor, I had taken some Man at Arms armor, and I took those little fuzzy sticks that you can buy at Walmart that are bendy, and I had made fur around mine and glued it down with super glue or crazy glue or whatever onto the armor, and it worked well for that. But when I got the Lords of Power armor, which is on the back completely solid, so that it really is protecting him not only on the front but also on the back as well. He had to have this armor. So there's Man at Arms. We're going to the next figure in the case here, which is Beast Man. Now, yes, I do have a red Beast Man, but he's not in here. In this case, I've got the old orange Beast Man. And here he is, along with his whip. And he has beastly feet made by Lee Customs, and he also has the original face sculpt of the original vintage figure done by Lee Customs and hand painted by Lee himself, so that he looks just like the original figure. I like the open mouth growling expression instead of the clenched teeth expression that's on the Origins figure. So I just had to get me a Beast Man that looked like my old toy.
Sure, and I can understand that. And to be honest with you, I kind of liked the closed mouth growly look to him. And I have a vintage Beastman, so it was neat to me to have the two different expressions on two different figures. But I could certainly see why somebody would want their Origins figure to be the way. That's the best thing about customizing, Bill, is that you can create your toy the way you think it should be.
Correct. And a long time ago, I asked the question, why do we do customs? Because one of the reasons is because we want the figures that we wished we had instead of the figures that we were given. And that's kind of the road I have taken with the Origin set, is to get everything that I wanted that I never had, that never even was made. And you'll see that in just a minute as we go through all of these, because we're going to go through them all. I'm doing an entire show today. It's going to last all afternoon. If you have to leave, Jonezer, that's it. But we're gonna go through this whole damn collection. And for some reason, I can't see the top of my screen here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. Now, we got 5 people watching, 5 whole people watching us today. Nice. Okay.
Well, all 5 of them we appreciate.
And we appreciate every bit of it and watch every minute of it. All the comments have been popping too. I haven't even kept up with the comments. Let's go up and see here what people have saying. A lot of stuff going on. Let's see. Radical Mom in the house. Bill, Mr. Jonezer, nice to see you. Sue Studio's going to take care of Dad. Silver looks awesome. Nice cosmic chair. Got to go pick up food. You guys have fun. Enjoy yourself there, John. Don't eat too much. Never had Zodak as a kid. Do now. Okay. In fact, I now have all the 8 bags. Good. Nice. Friend brought me a proper Tila this Christmas to complete my set. Good.
Nice.
See, Bowie Hicks is saying, feels like Mattel should listen more than Hasbro. Hasbro's got some issues over there, and they're going to have to fix those issues if they want to continue to get my money.
They're not getting any of mine.
Mattel sometimes listens. Hasbro just says "F you." The new Origins wave with tongue lasher has been found at a brick and mortar Walmart. I heard that too. I went to my brick and mortar Walmart today just because I was in town, and my future son-in-law had told me that there were tons of new toys on the shelf over there. So I said, I'm gonna run over there and look. Yeah. There was plenty of naked Stratos and Buzz Off and
Jitsu and Sorceress. And
yes. Mattel does a great job with Jurassic Park and WWE stuff too. I agree. And I kind of like the Superstars line, but I'm having a hell of a time getting the newest figures off of that. It's the same old shit sitting on the shelf.
Which ones are you missing, Bill? Is the WWE stuff at my Walmart is always there.
There's WWE Superstars, which is in the same box as these figures here.
Yep, I know exactly which ones you mean.
All right, I'm looking for Mr. T.
Okay.
I'm looking for Big Sexy and to complete the NWO with Hollywood Hogan. I want Kevin Nash and his little buddy there,
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. I need those two.
I've seen plenty of like $1 Million Man, Mankind,
Right.
Undertaker, Papa Shango, Ric Flair, Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, those guys are shelf warming over there at my Walmart, but the latest set just isn't there. And it sounds to me like you're in the same boat I am. Skeletor was barefoot in the first ad. Yes, he was. Yeah, you're talking about that Man at Arms. Yeah, that green, that dark green color.
Yep.
Nice Skeletor. The Jewel Eye Skeletor, we'll see him in just a minute. I have a wooden tea box full of MOTU stuff, all in Ziploc bags. The Havoc staff would look cool painted up like the Energy Blade. I thought about doing that. Go ahead.
I was just saying, hey, to Pope, but
yeah, I haven't seen Pope in a while. Pope walks in the real world. He goes hunting and fishing, and he flies a drone for a copper mine out there in New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. And he's just a cool guy who lives, like I said, in the real world. He's not always around, but when he is around, it's nice to have him here, and it's good to see you, Pope. It's been a while, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, Skeletor made portals with his energy blade.
Yep.
I got the figures before I saw the Filmation show. So did I. My first foray with He-Man was with the original storybooks. Those 4 storybooks that came with the original 8. And then the DC Comics came out before the Filmation comic cartoon. And that furthered the storyline towards what eventually became Filmation, because they were using that original Bible that we've talked about and shown on the show before, with some of the concepts out of that. And we were talking about Paul Kupperberg. I think that's who it was. He was the one who put Zodak in a chair like Metron. And I've been wanting to do a video all about Zodak for the longest time. And one of the things that I want to point out is Zodak is not a direct ripoff of Metron in that comic at all. The only thing, and it's not because they were going to do a New God series at Mattel that never got off the ground. It was all Paul Kupperberg. He decided to have Zodak fly in a cosmic chair, sort of like Metron. But he's not Metron by any means either, because one of the things that I don't think Metron sat there and went into these long monologues like the Phantom Stranger. but Zodak did. And so, the concept of Zodak in his chair comes directly from those DC comics. That carried over into the Filmation as well, although the Filmation Zodak is significantly different. He's even more of a good character than a neutral character in Filmation, in my opinion.
Correct.
And the idea of turning as a post-apocalyptic world, the Great Wars tore the whole planet up. And it was a war of attrition, which meant that the population reverted to savagery because everything was lost. There are pockets of technology within ruins, and Man-at-Arms' tribe are one of those few that understand the secrets of that technology. I imagine in my mind that Man-at-Arms rummages through those ruins to find the materials that he needs to create the things that he's created, like Wind Raiders and attack tracks and different weapons that He-Man and his allies use against Skeletor.
He does have a bit of a scrapper vibe,
Absolutely. Kevin Smith trolling and also kowtowing to the Hollywood agenda. Don't trust a guy who cried at Rise of Skywalker. No, Kevin Smith can cry on demand. Those are crocodile tears.
A lot of fans called the Masters Universe Revelation He-Man The Last Jedi.
Yeah. I'm a full human, says Bo Hicks. The funny thing about the OG Beast Man, I got it by accident from Amazon. I'd ordered LOP because it was more affordable than the $40 OG version. However, Amazon sent me OG. Oh, cool. Getting them view hours up. Yeah, I need them view hours up. I'm about ready to release one of those streams of nothing but soothing music to sleep by with a black screen. 10 hours worth of it.
That is genius.
NWO for life, brother. Give me some of that. Yeah, give me some of that.
So sweet.
Speaking of $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Jr. was done on multiple financial fraud charges this week. Money, 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 money. Oh, yeah. Well, some of the second generation, third generation wrestlers have had their problems, but so did their pops and granddads. So I guess it just kind of goes with the territory, don't you think there?
Well, maybe that gimmick wasn't all a gimmick.
And let's look at what the cat dragged in.
Rolo.
Good to see you there, Rolo. Hope you're feeling better than you were last night. I know you were sick last night. DM me, Rolo. I need to hear from you somehow, some way, because you're not connecting with me and you're making me worry about you, brother. Just saying. And don't make me fuss at you. You know I'm capable of doing that.
I would hate to see Bill fussy.
Rolo's caught the end of that back in January, and he knows what I'm talking about. All right, the next figure that we're going to come up with is Stratos. And I don't have his jetpack on him. I can put it on him if you guys want me to. But here he is, and he has got the Masters of the WWE Universe Rey Mysterio wings, Lee Customs feet, and the Masters of the WWE Universe Rey Mysterio armbands, and the jetpack, which is like the Masterverse jetpack and looks like the box art where it has the buckle down here. So, I could put that on him if you want me to, but I'm going to just put him right back up. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Now, there's a guy over on Etsy. He's from Belgium. He's called Talos Dream Shop. His name is Geert. He's from Belgium, and he does 3D printing of many accessories for your figures. The accessories your figures should have had that never came up with.
Oh, there you go.
So now I painted the gold highlights on this. It didn't come painted with the gold highlights, but Here we have the emerald staff of Avion for him to have. So that's my Stratos. Stratos is just who he is. So, but I had to put his little feet on him. I don't know what it is. Why couldn't they sculpt toes on these figures?
I don't know. I think they just wanted in the original releases to have them, as much like the originals as possible with those rounded feet that Beastman and Stratos had. I will say I was much more impressed with the new Eternia Masterverse Stratos release than I was with both the Origins ones, just because they got it right with that one. They got the red wings, they got the blue jetpack, and they had the Staff of Avion and a few extra accessories like with the air mask and different things.
Well, I bought that figure for one reason.
What's that?
You'll find out here in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Moving right along, we have Teela, the warrior goddess, who is originally going to be two separate figures, the warrior woman and the sorceress. The sorceress was going to have the snake motif, and the warrior woman was not. Mattel said, we're not doing two girl figures, Mark. We're just not doing it. So you just combine the two girls into one figure, and the boys can put the snake armor on for it to be the sorceress and take it off to be Teela, and make another figure. And that's how Zodak came about, who was originally going to be called Censor, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, that was his original name, was going to be Censor. Going back to Zodak, did you ever notice this little detail that they got wrong on the Origins figure that was on the original figure's armor?
I don't know if I did.
If you look on the belt down at the bottom on the original figure, look on the belt. Get your original figure out and look and tell me what you see on his belt down there at the bottom.
White belt.
No, the armor on the arm.
Oh, the armor. Yeah, the 3 dots.
That's bullet cartridges.
Gotcha.
His weapon is a laser gun that has cartridges, so it's like a flintlock laser gun, and he's got the cartridges on his belt to go in it to shoot.
Okay.
Nice.
But the Origins version did not have that, huh?
No, they left those off because the designer probably missed out on it, like most of us did as a kid. But if you look on your original figure, he's got like a gunfighter. He's got little cartridges, like little bullets.
Yep, I see him on the side.
Mm-hmm. But
I noticed that.
Anyway, I'm going to take the snake armor off so you can see the detail on my Teela here. I have repainted the details on her slightly. As you can see, her boots are now white at the top. Her cuffs are white with gold highlights, like the original mini comic. And all of the gold that's on her has been repainted with real gold colors, tester paints gold, instead of the sort of gold that, or sort of yellow color that it was, including her tiara there. And I love that facial expression on her, although she doesn't look as doll-like as the original Teela. I actually prefer this face over the original face for Teela.
Yeah, she looks like she's ready to fight.
She looks like she's a badass girl. And of course, Teela came with the snake staff and the shield of the sorceress. I have here repainted in gold the snake staff. That's an actual snake staff that came with her that I painted gold myself. And I don't know if you can tell it with the lighting here, but I've used 2 separate gold colors to give a little bit of highlight on that, so that I used the Tester's gold, and I also used the Hobby Model Paint gold, which is a slightly different gold color. And some things I painted with brass, like her armbands here, are actually painted with a brass color because sometimes brass looks even more gold than gold. And the same thing with her shield. I repainted the shield gold and used two separate gold colors to highlight some of the sections in that shield. And as you can see, that the original color was just that brown, which I left there in the middle. But that's her shield. Now, made in look at the handle there. That's meant for her to hold in her hand. But the original figure had a clip that clipped around her wrist.
Yep.
Well, Made in Kaiserstuhl makes a shield that you can buy, which he paints it. He actually uses this gold filament here to print it out. But I actually repainted the outside of it a little more gold so that it kind of shines a little more. But there is the clip, so that I could have her with the clip shield if I choose to. Therefore, she can hold another weapon in her other hand. And what weapons could she hold in her other hand? Why would she need to hold two weapons in her hands? Well, do you remember in the original stories that Tila had weapons besides that? She didn't carry that snake staff. What did she carry there, MOTU Jonezer?
A sword, if I remember right.
That is correct. She had this sword right here, which is made by my good friend Talos Dream Shop. Now, when you get this sword from him, it's going to be made in a gray or kind of silver colored filament. It's not going to be painted like this. I painted this myself. I put the brown there on the handle, and I painted the highlights here of the hilt and everything. But there's her sword, which I think this looks a lot better than the sword that we got with the Zor Tila.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one. I have her in right now, and yeah, it's just a solid.
Here, let me bring you up and let you show that to everybody.
It's just a solid.
Kind of a orangey.
Yeah,
yellowy orange. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I put the gray skull or guardsman shield in her hand because I prefer Tila with a sword and shield. I don't prefer her to have the staff. I think that's a weapon of the sorceress or the goddess or whatever you call her.
Correct. And I agree with you. Now, she did have a staff in the comics, but it was a spear. Do you remember she carried a spear?
Yeah, or even a stick, I felt like it looked like.
There it is, right there. That is her spear. And of course, Talos Dream Shop also did this, and I kind of painted the tip a little more gold, although this is the filament color from the rest of it right here. Let's see if I can get that to focus in. There we go. So she's got those accessories. That's my Tila, and that takes care of we're getting into the second layer of the box now on just these figures. We got a lot more to go, folks. I'm going to go through all of these. We're going to get them viewing hours up. All right. And the last figure in this particular case is Merman. And
Your personal mine.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's bring out Merman and everything that he's got in his possession. And the Merman that I have chosen to be one of my go-to mermen, I have two of them, but the one that's in this case is actually the Lords of Power Merman. I love that belt with those little dangly things on it, and that different armor and the boots that look like,
Yep.
undersea boots or whatever, and that head. The release vintage Merman's head was just goofy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. And this was my go-to Merman, and I believe the original release, Origins Merman, ended up in Lyrics collection.
Yeah, he's over here in one of these boxes. We'll get to him in a minute. But I never understood why all of the cross sell artwork, all the artwork in the storybooks had this head on it. Even Mark Taylor's artwork had this head on it, but
Right.
what they actually sculpted looked like, I don't know. It looked goofy, stupid, retarded. I mean, it was just bad.
Well, and for me, like it puts because the Stinkor's head's the repaint of that Merman head, and if
Let
you
it be
use
Tinkor's head, but not be Merman's head. How about that?
right, right, and that's exactly what I do with. I have this Lord of Power version, and then Stinkor, and it puts a little difference between the two of them.
Uh, Thank you, Michael. That'll help out a whole lot. He's going to put the channel on repeat to get my views up. Good deal, man. Thanks. Uh, Rolo's in the hospital for almost 2 weeks, but indeed I will obey. Yeah, just talk to me, man. That's all I want. I just want to hear from you. A few lines of text that say, "I feel like shit, but I think I'll do better," or "I feel better now," or just whatever. Just get me up to date because I've heard nothing but crickets in the background for a long time. Bobby Hicks wants to hopes Furlow's feeling better. Shatan's Hammer says, when you realize that Stratos' tribe and Beastman's tribe are probably directly related, at least going by Stratos' blurb calling him a simian. That's interesting because they both use the same body bugs.
Right. And one's more of monkey, and other more of bird.
Well, as a matter of fact, if you look at Stratos' face, there's some simian in Stratos' face as well, especially around his mouth.
Absolutely.
And that brings up another point that a lot of people may not know this, but you know that Stratos was based upon the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz.
I did not, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially because the original concept was he was going to be the evil bird of prey, or a bad character.
We talked about that. We talked about that a long time ago in a video that I made that I need to do a follow-up video for the other 3 storybooks. I just hadn't got around to it. But yeah, if you look in that original first storybook, He-Man and Power Sword, guess who Stratos is hanging out with?
Right.
And in my mind, Stratos was on the evil side, but he found the error of his ways, or he got sick of Skeletor's abuse, or whatever it was, and he changed sides.
And that makes sense.
And it's the same thing with Merman. Merman was actually an ally of He-Man, who turned against He-Man and joined Skeletor's team.
You know, and I always felt like Merman, especially the stuff you've seen from him in Filmation, where he seems to be willing to go out on his own. There are several solo Merman episodes where he is working without Skeletor or the others, and he's doing his own thing.
Absolutely, Merman he'll go into business for himself because he is a king.
Right.
He is an undersea king. He is teamed up with Skeletor for one reason: to get something for himself, to use Skeletor to get what he wants. So yeah, Merman is not a flunky by any means. Beastman, yeah, that's a flunky, but not Merman. Merman's in this for his own reasons. And of course, he has his
very nice
bone sword, or corn on the cob sword, but it has that highlight there in the middle that makes it look a little better, I think, than just the corn on the cob straight up sword. I think.
I agree.
Now, what else did Merman have besides a sword?
A trident.
There you go. Right there. Once again, Geert from Talos Dream Shop has come through with a beautiful trident for Merman to have. and just the right color, in my opinion, to match that figure.
You know, quite honestly, I think that's a better weapon for a Sea King. You know, it just
absolutely. What did King Neptune carry in his hands?
Correct. I was just going to say that.
What does Aquaman carry in his hand?
Right. You know, and I did like in the 2000X or 2002 version that the figure came with both options. So you had that sea coral sword or whatever that we all remembered, and it also had a trident. You know, and it's neat that you could go either way.
Now, of course, we couldn't show off anything without showing off the original corn on the cob here, so I do have that. But that takes care of the original 8, and that is my first case. So as I put these figures back away again, and I'm going to leave Zodak out of the case in his chair because he just wants to fly around and have some fun here. So I'm going to play with him some more. So I'm not going to put him in the case. But that is case number 1. And we're going to get ready to pull out the next case. And that is going to be my quote unquote Wave 2 case. So let me find that particular case here amongst my cases. And that's not it. Maybe this is it. Yes. And you'll see why I call this my quote-unquote Wave 2 cases. I bring the figures out, and I'm not going to go one by one. I'm just going to start bringing them out, and we'll just talk about them. We have Ram Man, Triclops, Manny Faces, and of course, let me get his hook on his belt here. He's carrying
my personal favorite, Trap Jaw.
Trap Jaw, absolutely. And of course, Trap Jaw was a bad dude too. If you read that original mini comic where the mini comic Trap Jaw shows up, he was a little badder than this guy. But I swear, my Trap Jaw always acted like the one that was in the Point Dread storybook with the record. That was Trap Jaw to me. Who'd have thought it? He-Man locked up in a dingy cell.
Yeah. It throws the water in his face to rust it.
Yeah, rusted him all. It rusted his whole body. Right. So apparently, it isn't just his jaw; it's his legs and his arms as well. Not only just
one. You can see that those are cybernetic parts in there. I mean, there's a big gearbox in his shoulder.
Sure, you can see it exactly. Next, we have Faker, and once again, Lee Customs made sure that my Faker has original sculpt head. So, you know, I'm all about that original. He-Man doesn't look like He-Man unless he's got that really, really, really tough look on his face.
Sure.
Kind of rugged. He just looks a little more rugged than just about any other He-Man. And that's the only thing that's hard for them to get right is the look of He-Man's face.
I do think it's one of the harder toy faces to get just right, and there's a lot of room for criticism in it, you know. And even every time they try to go with a vintage style look, there's always somebody that's got, you know, something to say about how it was just a hair off.
And call us nitpicky if you will, but hey, we are what we are. Right. All toy collectors have certain eccentricities, let's just say. Now, the next figure, of course, is Evil Lyn. And this is the I call her Yellow Evil Lynn. The original figure wasn't this jaundiced. I like the color of the original figure. The original figure skin was a more orangey color than this. And you got one handy there, don't you, Jonezer?
I do.
If you'll bring her out, I'll put you over here and let you. Yes, you see that? That's a more skin, kind of a deep tan skin tone, in my opinion. Maybe the girls that hang out on the beach that put the fake suntan stuff on
Right.
themselves. Look.
And one thing I want to point out, me and Adam at Radical Toys were messing around last night. This staff will glow in the dark.
Yes, the original staff did glow in the dark, and a lot of people don't realize that, but it did.
Right.
The one that came with the Origins does not.
No, it does not, and that was rather disappointing.
Yeah. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize. Do you know who Mark Taylor originally based the face of Evil Lynn on?
I do not.
Sophia Loren.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right, here she is. Here's my Evil Lynn. Now, when you bought your Origins Evil Lynn figure, did she have wonky knees or nice knees?
Wonky. I got wonky kneed Evil Lynn.
Did you? Now you know they did it with Tila. They re-released Tila with fixed knees, right?
I do, and I used the Tila that came with the Zor for the for that fix. But
well,
I was gonna get the white skinned Evil Lynn and then just didn't.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, now they re-released T-Law, blister pack T-Law with fixed knees, just like they did with the new fixed face, the He-Man.
Right.
One of the harder figures to find is Yellow Evil Lynn with fixed knees.
Yeah, no, and I've noticed the fixed knees Tila or the fixed knees Evil Lynn is not an easy thing to find. Quite honestly, those weird knees didn't bother me as much as it did others, because really the original ones, their legs didn't bend at all.
But their legs look pretty and shapely instead of like big cylinders.
Sure. No, they did. But I mean, to me, it was like, I don't know. I guess I'm just not as nitpicky. But I was like, hey, man, she can get into poses that this other one can't, so I wasn't as bothered by it. But I mean, would I prefer to have one with better knees? Of course. Was I willing to roll the dice on an Amazon package that said, yeah, and then I get
there's a way to tell the difference. And it's all in the product code.
Oh, gotcha. That's smart.
Now, I'll tell you how sad that I am and how anal retentive that I am. I bought another Temple of Darkness sorceress to replace the one that came with my Grayskull, just so I could get her with fixed knees as well.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is. It's sad when you're this dedicated to such small minutia.
Well, no, I don't think that's sad, Bill. It's just you want it the way you want it, so that's what it is.
And the last two figures in this box are our metal-fisted friends, Fisto, and here's his sword, and Jitsu with his big vac metal chop hand here, which why couldn't Fisto have a vac metal fist?
Yeah, I don't know.
So there's Jitsu. I often imagined Ninjor and Jitsu,
that's
funny.
Yeah. That's funny you say that, because in the Adventures of Jonezer's mind, Jitsu and Ninjor were definitely allies. I also thought of certain characters in certain ways. Like I know in 2002 they had Triclops be the like man at arms of Snake Mountain, like he was the fix it guy, which I thought made no sense. I thought it made smarter sense for Trapjaw to be the mechanically inclined one.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
Trapjaw's more inclined to do that because he's got to fix himself all the time as well.
Correct. And I thought of more like the original mini comic. I thought of Triclops as like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's not stupid like Beastman, but he's more muscle.
Right.
He's thinking muscle.
Well, and much like that, I thought of Ninjor as a bounty hunter as well. And I kind of, in the imaginations of Jonezer play, Triclops and Ninjor have a little bit of a competitive beef with each other for who's the better muscle for hire guy.
I could see that as well. And as we go through these other cases, we're not going to get into as big a detail as we did on the original 8, but the original 8 deserved to have that kind of detail given to them that I just did, in my opinion.
Well, and they look to be the ones you've altered from the original form the most. Those look pretty much tit for tat how they came out. Am I correct?
That's right. That's right. Shaitan's Hammer said that sword is painted awesome. He's talking about the Tila sword. I'm going back through the chat here real quick. Bobby Hicks says, I use my Green Goddess as a snake woman. When I get the new snake Tila, I'll put them together as a pair of sexy snake ladies.
I love it.
Shaitan's Hammer says, my Green Goddess stands in Grayskull's tower. Do you know that I have names for the 2 towers of Grayskull?
I did not.
One tower is called the Tower of Vigilance, or the Watchtower, and the other one is called the Tower of Defense because it has a cannon on it.
Well, that makes sense.
LOP Merman. Absolutely. I love LOP Merman. Merman's head looks like a cat head. The vintage release Merman's head did have a cat look to it, which made sense to repaint it and make him Stinkor, right?
Yeah, I mean, Masters of the Universe was king of reuse and stuff. I mean, like Manny Face's legs or Trapjaw's legs, and I mean,
this was the original repaint series. Everything in this series was swapped around.
Right.
Let's look at the original 8. All right, so we had a beastly body, which was Beastman's. We had a reptile body, which was Merman. And Skeletor. Skeletor and Merman both had reptile arms and reptile feet. And then we had a female buck for Tila. And then we had the heroic or human buck, which was He-Man and Man-at-Arms. So Mark Taylor got told that he's not going to do 2 female figures. He's going to do 1. Now he's got to come up with another figure. So what does Mark do? He really goes all out and starts mixing and matching. He puts reptile feet with a beastly body and reptile arms and a new head sculpt and makes Zodak.
Right.
All right. So that case is out of the way. What case shall we go into next? I will hold off on these guys. I have a special case to go into here, and this is my Filmation case, ladies and gentlemen. I call it my Filmation case because all of the figures in here, although they don't look exactly like Filmation, they were to evoke Filmation. And we'll start with the main number 1, and that would be Prince Adam. Once again, sporting a Lee Customs head so that he looks like Prince Adam. He has a baldric around his chest made by Talos Dream Shop to hold his pink power sword. Wah, wah, wah. And the vest is a vintage Adam vest, which I think looks a whole lot better than that pink monstrosity that Sky Sled Adam came with.
That's 100% what I did with mine, only it's a custom original.
Yes, Kate Master makes a custom of that would do the job. And of course, I do have the original vest here. Now, that belt did not come on that vest. That vest had a molded belt underneath there. This was my first attempt at doing something to make the figure look a little better. And then I took a gold button and sewed it onto a piece of elastic here.
And I would warn people, if you're going to take that vest off of your Origins Prince Adam, to be very careful, because I broke mine trying to get it on and off. And
yeah, a lot of people, well, see, it's glued right here.
Yeah,
actually it's fuse welded. It's fuse welded right there. Okay, it doesn't pop apart, and you don't want to pop it apart anyway. Yes, it is possible to get this vest off of the figure without tearing the vest up and leaving it completely intact. But like Jonezer said, be careful because it's hard.
Yeah, and I don't plan on putting it back on mine anyway. I like the look of them kind of more like yours is, but I was a little upset that I broke it, because even though I didn't want it on there, I didn't want to break it.
Well, if you want another one, I got one, Jonezer, because I bought 2 sky sleds so I could have a good sky sled and an evil sky sled.
Right. And we've got it. Like Lyric's got another one, because we did the same thing, sky sleds, and it's really just not that important to me. It's just one of those things was like, I can't believe I broke that.
Yeah. Well, when you start customizing like I do, you have moments like that a lot. And you have to just take the good, the wins with the losses, like anything else. The next figure I'm going to bring out, of course, is the Court Magician, Orko.
Nice.
And Orko has in his hand there a magic wand, which Talos makes and sells, so that he has a wand to hold in his hand. The next figure, of course, is we all tease him and call him the Burger King. It's Burger King Randor. And he has still got his original cape on, but one of these days, I'm going to get ye oldie Cape Master to make me a cloth cape to go on my Randor, which he does make and sell. And he has his spear in his hand. Here is the King of Eternia. I'll get him to stand up here.
One of the more expensive vintage figures, if one is looking to hunt for that. I would also say one of the harder ones to get with a clean face without that nose rub.
Yeah.
That character was notorious for having his nose rubbed up.
You're absolutely right there, Jonezer. That's correct. And the next figure, we've seen her before in my collection, but this is a beautiful figure. It comes as a kit. He does have some more ready and available on his eBay store. This is Queen Marlena. Once again, for those of you who may be watching that are new, who don't know, the kit comes with in 2 ways, either pre-painted or unpainted, so you can paint it yourself. I prefer to get it pre-painted because I'm lazy. But you get an upper body, a head, 2 forearms, and a belt and a cloth skirt. The rest is made from a sorceress figure. You have to paint the upper arms green. You have to add the hands and the legs. But there is Queen Marlena, and the staff she's got in her hand is not made by Lee. That came with a custom 3D printed Marlena figure that was done by the same guy from Argentina who did my Stratos sled. But I stole that staff and gave it to this Queen Marlena because she needs a royal scepter in her hand.
Now, does this person sell this figure completed? Like, say I didn't want to do any painting, any hunting, anything. I just want a Marlena just like this.
No, Lee didn't do that. He didn't have time to do that. He's casting these kits along with the heads for many different figures. Okay, and it takes time to do that. the ingenious way in which he's created the forearms so that they can snap into the upper arms. It's kind of nitpicky, and when you're dealing with resin pores, you get bad with good, and you have to weed those out. I'll say this about Lee: he is a stand-up guy. When I bought the kit from him, when I got it, the connectors that go into the forearms here, when I tried to snap them into the upper arm, they snapped in two because it was a bad pour, and he didn't realize it. I contacted him immediately, and he sent me a whole bag of replacements.
Oh, well, that's very awesome.
So he's a cool guy. Sometimes he pops into the chat on my channel on occasions. Rolando Flores just showed up in the house. Hey, Rolando, good to see you, man. Shane's Hammer says, Mike Young Productions played into the ocean warlord aspect of Merman. And loves that trident there. Boba Hicks does. Rolando saying hey to everybody. And let's see, Radical Joy. There's that trap jaw voice again. Yeah, I think I do a rather decent trap jaw voice. You add a little reverb in Audacity to that after you do it, and it can be spot on. Let's see. I can't get myself to buy a Ram Man. I had him as a kid, but now he kind of makes me yawn. Oh, come on, man. Love me some Ram Man. Yeah. And Ram Man was not exactly the nicest guy when He-Man first met him either.
No, that original mini comic, they fought each other almost immediately.
Yeah. I'm Ram Man, and this is my place. Get out.
Right. And see, I always preferred the bumbling, kind of sounded like he was dumb Filmation.
Oh, the Filmation version, because he'd been bumping his head so much.
Yeah, I just feel like he's a great cautionary tale.
I've been hitting the head one time or there are too many.
I think it's great. I mean, it's just what would be the direct result of living your life that way.
Right. Melvor came in. Hey, Melvor. Shaden's Hammer says Manny faces his cool beans.
Absolutely.
Duffman's diorama in the house. I hope you're doing well, Duffman. Evil Lynn staff glows too. Yeah. I'm all about that mini comics trap jaw, one of my favorite Origins figures. We'll get to him in a minute there, Shaitan. I'm going to go through them all, everything that I got handy here anyway that's in these cases. Boba Hicks says you should do a mirror universe custom of Evil Lynn called Good Lynn. It's an idea. Now you're making my brain work. Don't do that on a Sunday.
Yeah, I can't. The traditionalist in me went like, good Lynn. Like,
why is Lynn so evil? Is it too many people making fun of those wonky knees?
It could be.
My Series 1 Tila has proper knees. My 2.0 Evil Lynn has the old news to the 2000X inspired origins, but they did make fixed and that figure variant, if you will. What I want to do is I want to get an Evil Lynn with the skin color that matches my damn vintage. I just love that kind of an orangey yellow as opposed to that bright jaundice yellow, like she's got something wrong with her liver. He-Man Wave 1 Origins and 2.0 do have the correct boot colors to the vintage one. I'm that picky. Yeah, I'm pretty picky about stuff like that. I like the fact that they painted the cuffs on He-Man's boots like they were in the mini comics.
Yeah, I like the two-tone boots.
And I like that they gave him bracers on both of his wrists instead of that thing on his one wrist that looked like he was going to shoot a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I actually like that they colored them.
Yeah.
I prefer the longer bracer and the short bracer just because that's the way the old figure looked.
Yeah, I always wanted my figure to match the Alcala artwork that was in that mini comic.
Well, sure. Sure, and I know that about you, Bill. That's where the wonder of He-Man started for you.
Absolutely. Did I ever tell you the story about the first encounter I had with He-Man figures and the mini comics?
If I remember right, you discovered him at a friend's house.
Well, he wasn't really my friend. He was the child of my sister's friend.
Okay.
And she had gone over to visit that lady, and she had a little boy that was maybe a year or so, maybe 2 years younger than me. And what did I must have been about 1982. I was 11 years old. Okay. And this little guy was probably 10, maybe 9 or 10 years old. And I go into his playroom, and he had Superpowers figures, which I had some of, but he had a Justice League playset in there.
No, that's cool.
And I immediately went for that to play with that because I wanted one, but wasn't ever going to have one. And then I saw this muscle man over there, this yellow-haired muscle man, and he had another figure that was had a skull face on him that was blue, and I'm like, what are these guys? And I was looking at him, and the little guy that I was playing with handed me the mini comics, the little storybook comics,
Right.
and I ate those things smooth up, Jack. And on the way home, I begged and begged and begged to go buy Toys R Us at the mall on the way home so I could see if I could get myself a He-Man figure. Score!
Right. That's awesome.
I always preferred Buffy Ram Man. I couldn't get into the thin version that Masterverse is doing. Yeah, Ram Man is supposed to be a big guy. Now, over on Mr. Home Arcade, Ram Man got thrown out by He-Man. Drunk He-Man throwed him out. He almost died over Christmas of having to sleep under a rock in the cold, and joined the Snake Men, and is now all buffed out and roided up, and the Snake Men made him work out and everything. So instead of being Ram Man, he's now Swole Man with big muscles. Let's see, doing good, Bill, working on a tree for a forest diorama I'm working on. Duffman, if you could find me on Instagram and give me a DM, I want to discuss how you're doing that tree because I need a tree or two for something that I'm working on. All right, getting on down into the box. This is Filmation, by the way. So the next figure, and I'm going to go ahead and put his jetpack on, is, of course, my Filmation Stratos, which my longtime viewers have seen him before. You've seen him before too, haven't you, Jonezer?
Yes, sir.
Now, the jetpack that he's wearing is a vintage Stratos jetpack, and it's for a reason. I just like the way that jetpack looks, and it's already blue. And as we know, the jetpacks that came with Origin Stratos were red.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So this phone is going into low power mode. So I'm going to lose my toy cam here in a minute. Red boots, repainted his feathers, made in Kaiserstuhl, made me some blasters to go on his wrists.
No, I like that.
And that is Stratos, and he also has the cartoon version of the Staff of Avion, or the comic version. Is that
so they could summon Mulcrum, the greatest monster in the freaking show?
Right.
That is my favorite episode, actually.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, the Staff of Avion was from the mini comic series was put into two different things on the Filmation cartoon: the Egg of Avion and the Staff of Avion. Am I right?
Yeah, you got that.
All right, so that was Mini Comic Stratos. Moving right along. The next figure, of course, is going to be Filmation Man at Arms. So he's got a mustache. He's got a full set of armor, courtesy of the Eternian Guards.
Right.
And that is an original Man at Arms waist on him. So it's not got the colored gem in it. So that he looks like Filmation Man at Arms. And also in this case, I have got the repainted, I guess, 2000X Evil Lyn, because I guess she looks more like the Evil Lyn from the Filmation cartoons.
I think all you're missing for her would be a black cape.
And you know how to fix that, right?
I do.
Cape Master to the rescue. Or you can make your own out of black felt. And last but not least in this case, the Sorceress of Grayskull.
Nice.
So that's my Filmation case. And of course, yes, the Sorceress of Grayskull came with fixed knees to begin with, so you didn't have to go hunting for another figure to replace wonky knees. At this point, Mattel had already figured out that they had screwed the women's knees up, and they were already making the new figures with fixed knees by this point. I am looking for the tray to go in here. What did I do with that? Oh, I've lost my damn mind. All right, we got to get these figures put away. Here it is. Oh, right out of my nose. Oh, so Jonezer, how do you store your figures? Do you just store them on a shelf there playing, or do you put them back in packaging, or how do you do that?
Well, for the Masterverse figures, because they slide back into the packaging so well, I just put them back in the packaging. But for the Origins or the vintage stuff, it just sits on the shelf, you know, just right out in the open. A lot of times me and Lyric will come down here and mess around, and so they're just kind of handy to just grab. Those are the ones that are the go-tos for playing for the most part.
They lend themselves to play, don't they?
Yeah, whereas the Masterverse ones are great for, I would say, toy photography or, you know, just like posing into battle. Like, I mean, they don't really do well for play, I don't think, but they do great for like putting them in a battle pose. You know, they're, I would even say, far superior to the Origins or the vintage in that way. But like to bend the arms and move and to go up the stairs and things like that, they're kind of cumbersome in that way. You know, they don't.
Guys, I've got to take a small break. I've got to go and release some coffee that I have drank earlier today that's ready to come back out again. And I have to swap phones for the camera here. So I'm going to take a break. Now, Jonezer, you got a choice. You can either entertain folks, or I can play some cartoons or I mean some commercials.
I can entertain them for a bit.
All right, you got the floor, buddy. The toy cam's coming off. Jonezer's coming in full screen, and I shall return.
Well, what's up, everybody? Today's Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures are brought to you by the letter B and the number 4. And, well, anyhow, just going into this vintage collection of mine, it took a lot of time and money to come up with a lot of these. And so if any of you are entertaining the idea of hunting down these vintage figures, Old Jonezer's got a couple tips for you for vintage He-Man collecting. Now, tip number 1, you will probably save money buying the figure completed. Now, you could probably get incomplete figures a lot cheaper, but if you're going to try to track down the accessories one at a time After that, you're going to end up paying more most likely when it's all said and done. And it'd probably be better served to just buy the figure completed to begin with. Now, that being said, some of these can be kind of expensive, especially some of the core figures that you really want, like He-Man here, to get him with axe and sword and all of the cool stuff that he comes with is not cheap. I think if you are diligent, you could probably get one for around $50, but honestly, like a clean one is probably going to run you much more than that. And if you get a naked one without armor and accessories, yeah, you might get them for 10, 15 bucks on Evil Bay. But again, what are you going to spend to get the armor, the sword, the shield, the axe to complete him? Probably more than you would have spent just buying him completed in the first place. And if you are going to go down that rabbit hole of trying to complete figures and buying them as cheap as possible, one could try to buy lots. So you'll see a Masters of the Universe lot available, say on eBay or Mercari or whatever your favorite auctioning sites are. And you could probably get it, bid it up, whatever, win the thing. But you're not going to get a lot of choice. You're going to get a lot of, naked figures or broken legged figures. And you're going to have to buy a lot of these lots and mix and match and try to complete figures. Because you might be, like I've done this, where you buy the whole lot and it's really just for one piece that you needed for some vintage figure you got. And then the rest of it, one could probably piece off or sell off to recoup some funds to do this. These vintage figures are getting harder and harder to find. They're getting more and more expensive, and people are becoming more and more aware of how rare they are, and that they're sought after by, especially people over 40 like me, who wanted to do this stuff. Now, my vintage collection is not complete by any means. I do have some of the more harder to find or expensive figures. One in particular would be this Scareglow here. Scareglow is not an easy figure to come by, and he is definitely expensive. Now, this staff that I have for this Scareglow is not original, so that kind of hurts the value of this figure. And this cape is actually from the Cape Master. But to get the original figure with all the bits for a Scareglow, I mean, we're talking $300+, and I was lucky to get the figure itself. I bidded and stole one for around 80, 90 bucks, which sounds ridiculous, but you just go ahead and search up values of a Scareglow on eBay and see what you come up with. That was a figure I never thought I would have. And quite honestly, just the cape itself can be $150 or more, so I think that custom cape from the Cape Master does just fine for what it is. King Randor is another one of the same boat. I was saying earlier, this figure is expensive, hard to find, and will probably, a completed one will cost you around $100. And this is an original staff on him, but it's been chewed up. I don't know if you could see that. Apparently kids in the 80s like to gnaw on these weapons. The crown is also original, but the cape is another one from the Cape Master there. So again, an original King Randor cape can be quite expensive and kind of hard to do. So, to try to get a vintage collection going in this day and age in today's market is not easy. And it takes patience and timing and haunting eBay auctions and just building one piece at a time with what you can afford. I got lucky and I got into rebuilding this vintage collection before the Toys That Made Us hit on Netflix. When that hit, prices for the vintage line went up like you wouldn't believe. And then when Origins came out, I was kind of hoping that the Origins craves would make it easier to find vintage stuff. And I ended up wrong. That way it was opposite. where the people who liked the nostalgia of the origins, thought that, hey, I really want the vintage set. So vintage collecting of Masters of the Universe is not easy or cheap or for the meek or the weak at heart. And I would recommend places where Jonezer has scored, places like garage sales, but they're coming harder and harder to find there. Estate sales, antique stores. A lot of times antique stores kind of know what they got and are asking for more money than they should, in my opinion, a lot of times for these. Sometimes you can get lucky and find one where it's just in a pile of other toys, and you buy the ones that you didn't want to get the one you do. Yeah, but I would say it's very rewarding if you're into it, and I get a lot of compliments on my vintage collection, but yeah, my wife complains to me, hey, that's downstairs, it looks like a dang toy store instead of a basement. But I'm a little obsessed, especially with the subject of Masters of the Universe and He-Man. I have a lot of passion for it. I mean, it hits that childhood nostalgia bug, and I just don't know how to fix myself of it, or if I ever would want to. I mean, I'm kind of hooked for life. He-Man and Skeletor mean the world to me, and it's just something that I'll never let go of. Even as an old man, I will still have love for this intellectual property. And I'd say vintage figures that I am missing out of this collection are only a few, and they're kind of some of the harder to find and more expensive ones. I do not have Clamp Champ in there. I do not have Snake Face in there. I do not have Squeeze. I do not have Ninjor. I do not have an original Sorceress. And I think Hurricane Hordak, Buzzsaw Hordak, Terrorclaw Skeletor, and Flying Fist He-Man. I also do not have Extendar and Snout Spout, which those are probably on the cheaper side and I could get. I just, got a lot of irons in the fire as far as collecting comic books and Masters of the Universe Origins, Masterverse. I got a lot of stuff that I'm buying. Bill.
Hey, I'm still working on getting this extra phone over here connected to get the one that was over here, running out of juice to connect, but for some reason. Oh, you're doing great, man. You're doing great.
Yeah, I think the only drawback was I couldn't see what was happening in the comments, so I couldn't answer questions or anything like that. But I just rattled off about the vintage collection and some tips of if someone was looking to buy one in today's market, what I suggest one would do.
Doing good, Bill. Working on a tree for a forest. We saw that. Sent you some pics, Bill. Just DM me with any questions. Always glad to help you out. Good deal. Manic Plastic Toy Shop says this is true. Must have been something you said. Best way to find them all in a big box at a yard sale for $20. Radical Toy says a good plan is to buy some of those rubber leg band replacements if you're getting into vintage MOTU. The He bands, yeah, you can get them on various different places. You just got to get used to learning how to do them.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
It is. And may I suggest that you go to the hardware store and buy you a set of needle nose pliers, but get the kind that are flat, that don't have the little teeth in them. What do you? There's a word for that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and quite honestly, that was one of my first. I've got a lot of money making schemes over here in Jonezer land, and one of the first ones I thought was to buy a bunch of vintage broken He-Mans and get them leg bands and fix them all and then sell them for a small profit. And I abandoned that crap pretty early on in the game because I'm like, this is more trouble than I think it's worth, for the payout at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. I had to do this a different way. Hang on just a second. I've got to put a code in my phone here.
Absolutely. So, other Masters of the Universe stuff that I've got going on here, I got a lot of the vehicles. There are a few that I'm missing. I am missing the attack track. I am missing the Fright Fighter and the Laser Bolt, but I've got a lot of the mainstay ones that I want. I do need a Night Stalker, but I do have, Roton, Spydor, Battle Ram, Talon Fighter. I am missing the Perch for the Talon Fighter, which, I'm working on. I have the Road Ripper, but I need the cord to make that thing shoot across my kitchen floor. I'm currently bidding on an attack track right now that I'm hoping to get. I'm trying to get a working one with battery cover, which is a pain in the butt. Missing,
Attack track? You're looking
yes,
for battery cover for it?
yes.
There's a
Well,
guy
I
on
need the
Etsy.
whole.
Do you want
I
you
need
want
the
you
whole
want you
thing.
want it to be vintage, or you just want a battery cover for it?
Well, it doesn't matter if it works. It works.
The guy on Etsy that makes replacements, and he also makes replacements of the rubber parts that go around it so that it gets traction on the
Gotcha. That'll be
yeah.
helpful.
Yeah,
Then I can,
I'll get back with you later on, and I'll let you know how to get in touch with that guy. But he makes stuff like that for you, like replacement battery covers, the little stuff for the wheels that give them traction that always break
yeah.
and never there.
Yeah, no, then I could bid on some dumpier ones instead of trying to pay up to get the better one that has all the bits. The Battle Bones is another set I don't have and I'm not really interested in. One that Lyric wants badly is the Slime Pit, and I've been trying to find one for a good price, but I do think I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and just pay the $70-$80 to get one. Because that's something Lyric's been after me for over a year or two now. Is we need a Slime Pit, Dad. We need a Slime Pit. And
yeah. And if you have the Evil Horde, there are two things that you have to have for the Evil Horde, and one of them is a Slime Pit, and the other one is the Fright Zone.
Yep. And we've got Fright Zone with Puppet. That Puppet, I've had $90 offers for that Puppet many times.
You got an original Puppet with that?
I do.
Is it in decent shape?
It is in amazing shape.
My God, those things deteriorate whether you play with them or not.
Yep, mine's in amazing shape. It almost looks. It's got a little bit of wear on the teeth. All
right. Next time you play it around, I don't know if you go on Etsy ever or not, but go and find a fellow by the name of that is awesome.
Yeah, it's in amazing shape.
Yeah, that's probably worth $100 just in your hand right there. I would think more.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not Etsy. No, the person you're looking for is the guy that made my Zodak chair on eBay. He's in Argentina, and it costs out the ass. It costs almost as much as the toy itself to get it sent to you. Right. This guy makes a 3D print of that thing in solid plastic. Now, of course, the jaw doesn't articulate. It's always going to be open. But he paints it as well, and it sits in your Fright Zone, or it can be coming out of your Snake Mountain or wherever there's a hole to stick it.
One thing I'd suggest to people that if you have a vintage one, I stuff it full of grocery bags, like plastic bags, so it holds that form. Because I do think when it lays, limp, that is part of the problem for that thing deteriorating.
Well, the other alternative is to go down to Walmart and go over where the cheap toys are. There's these little rubber puppets that look like dinosaurs, and one of them looks like a dragon. I used a dragon. Then you go over where the plants and shit are the fake plants, not the real ones. And they have these little styrofoam tubes that you're supposed to put put these sticks like this in these stem wires. You shove them down in that and make your little flowers and shit on them. But they're cylinders made out of solid styrofoam, and they come in green. And you can slide that dragon head on there, and that hole is the diameter of that is perfect to go in that hole.
See, and I got really lucky with this Fright Zone. I found it at a garage sale local to me, and I got a hot tip from a friend that said, "Hey, this lady's got like boxes and boxes of He-Man stuff. You might want to come over here, and she's got some crazy prices on this stuff, but maybe you could negotiate with her for the lot." And I did, and I will have to say the lady's a fierce negotiator. I ended up paying like $300-400, but what I got with it was a completed Grayskull, a completed Fright Zone, probably about 30-40 figures, most of them completed. And a lot of them doubles. I got a couple. That Dragon Walker that I sent you was one of the things in there. A lot of stuff I already had, but I knew the value of it, and I knew there was at least $1,000 worth of He-Man here, and so I tried to get it for as cheap as I could get it. And quite honestly, I couldn't get the lady under $400. But just doing quick math, I was like, this Fright Zone completed by itself is most of that. So I bought the thing, pieced off the pieces that I needed, and then sold off the rest and got my money back.
Michael Purvis at Manic Plastic Toys, who I've done business with, he sent me a vintage Road Ripper here recently that all I need is a ripcord for, kind of like you do, and I've got to do replacement stickers on. Yeah, this is the real deal, folks. Now, he said that there was a rubber band that went around this. I don't remember there being a rubber band around this here. I think it's just like it is, right, Jonezer?
I cannot see that. You want to put yourself up full screen there?
Bottom of the Road Ripper. That never had a rubber on it, did it?
I want to say it did. I want to say it had like a black rubber layer, but I don't know. That was what made it have grip or traction when it rolled across your floor, right?
If that be the case, I don't see how I would replace that. I would have to take this thing apart.
Right. Well, let me look at mine here quick.
Do the wheels come? No, they don't seem to come loose at all.
Yeah, mine has it.
It's got a rubber on it.
Yep.
I'll be damned. Huh. Well, shit. Well, Michael says he's got most of what you're looking for, so he wants you to DM on him on Instagram. Well, you're going to look for Manic Plastic Toys or Michael Purvis, or I'll get you in touch with him. One way or the other, we'll get you guys talking. Michael's got a lot. He's got a big box full of vintage stuff that's just kind of loose.
Sure.
Folks like me and you would probably have a ball just going through.
Absolutely.
Shaton's Hammer says, I have both the Slime Pit and Fright Zone as a kid. My family really went all in with me as a kid and MOTU. That's nice. Bill's Castle Grayskull is the best. No, I will not say that my Castle Grayskull is the best. There is a guy over on Instagram, and I just bought some feet for my Savage He-Man from him. I can't pronounce his name, but let me see if I can figure out. Let me go on Instagram real quick and find him, and I'll tell you what his Instagram handle is. That's the guy who has made taken a vintage Castle Grayskull, done a little bit of work on it, and turned that booger into what looks like the actual Grayskull that Mark Taylor did. Hold on just a second. Get out of here, cat! Shoo!
I love that.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, man, sometimes the South just comes flying out of you. Y'all gonna get out of here, get!
Yeah, That's the only way to make him mine. And he
Right.
will.
No, you gave me flashbacks to my grandmother right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
I meant that with the utmost respect because she was a fearsome woman.
I, I I take that. I take that as a compliment, friend.
Yeah, I meant it as one. That lady would make most men freaking cry.
Let's see here.
Well, Bill, if you don't
Here
mind,
he
I'm
is.
gonna fill up my
Yeah,
coffee
go
cup,
ahead.
switch
Gray
the
Skull.
laundry, and I'll be right back. Give me like a couple minutes.
Sure. Gray Skull _the_ origins on Instagram. This is the guy who made the Castle for Battle Round blog. That is a perfect recreation of the Mark Taylor Gray Skull. That, my friend, is the best Gray Skull out there, Shaitan's Hammer. And if you get a chance to see that, you can see it on Battle Round blog. You can also see that Gray Skull on Gray Skull _the_ origins on Instagram. He's got it. Yes, on target. I really love your setup. There's a guy on Instagram selling feet. You're going to report him? No, I'm going to buy from him. Poor cat's in shock now. The poor cat's about to get on my nerves. Get out of here. He's wanting attention. That's what he wants. And he's getting it. And negative attention is just as good as positive attention when it comes to that, I suppose. Shall I call Peter? You call whoever you feel like calling, Rolo. All right. Moving right along while Jonezer's going to get in some coffee, we're going to delve into another one of these cases back here now that I got my phone back operating properly again. Let's see who we're going to look at. We've already been in that case. Next wave of figures. And this is just the figures that I've gotten here recently. We'll start with Ye Olde Ninjor. Now, of course, Ninjor came with this head here, which I have swapped out because Lee Customs did a head like Ninjor is supposed to have. Of course, the original Ninjor had a hood that was removable, cloth goods. This does not. So I use Space Sumo's hood on my Ninjor. So it just pops down on there, and now he's Ninjor. With Space Sumo. The next, of course, is Clamp Champ. I've done nothing other than change out the head. This Clamp Champ has got a sculpt of the original Clamp Champ head, which I think looks a lot better than the ones that came with the origins in that case. But otherwise, it's that's the only change that I made. And then we get into figures that I never had, that I don't have any to do any replacements on. The buzz off, you can get them at Walmart today. They're pretty much all over the place, along with Naked Stratos. Then we have our attorney and guard. He's wearing his face mask. Earlier today, you did see the unmasked version of his head. Getting into the next part of this case, these guys aside for just a minute. We have the aforementioned Naked Stratos. And as you can see, he's wearing the collar from the Masterverse Stratos. I had to do just a little bit of conversion to do that. I had to take a hobby knife and just do just a small bit around the inside diameter of that so that it would fit properly on him. But that's Naked Stratos. And of course, he's got some Lee Custom beastly feet there on his for feet instead of the little socky feet. Next, we have my merman. This is my regular merman, a cross-cell artwork merman. So he has brown furry shorts with a light green belt. He has the armor that came with the regular release there, merman. And, of course, he's got his corncob sword. So this is cross-cell art merman. Next, we have a mini comics trap jaw. Now, there is a small difference between this mini comics trap jaw and the one that came in the mail from Mattel Creations. The one that came in the mail from Mattel Creations had a silver version of the regular belt that he was wearing. This version here has a belt that looks more like the one that was in the mini comics. And that belt was made by Geert over at Talos Dream Shop. Yeah, Boa Hick, get out of here, cat. Yeah, now that is Need. I'm surprised they didn't do an Unmasked Ninja variant for Origins. Yeah, they should have. I like Salt said he had to step out and feed the chickens. Shaitan's Hammer says he got 2 buzz-offs. Oh, oopsie. All right. The next figure that I've got in here, of course, is Temple of Darkness Sorceress with the knees. Now, why did I go through all the trouble of finding one of these with the fixed knees when I just could have swapped out Tila's knees? Because Tila's knees are the wrong color. The Temple of Darkness Sorceress has a very, very light skin tone to her, and I'm just so picky that I had to make sure that the color on her skin tone matched the way it should have. So that's that case. We're going into another case of figures here in just a sec. Let's get this case put away first. All right. And Jonezer is busy getting himself a cup of coffee, which makes me want to turn my coffee maker back on and make me another cup. And we're going into, how many cases have we gone through so far? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going into a 5th case. And yes, these are all vintage cases that I'm keeping these Origins figures in. This next case has got Skeletor, Alcala Skeletor. And the armor that he's wearing is from the Keldor 2-pack, The Origins of Evil. The head is from that pack. The feet, however, were made by another customizer who's not around anymore. He's selling off what's left of his stock on eBay. If it's still there, that's Barbarossa Customs. So here he is, and here's those feet made by Barbarossa Customs. Big old, just really, really tough looking feet there. And he's got the jeweled eyes. I don't know if you can see the light gleaming off of them or not, but just a neat Skeletor. And of course, he comes with the full power sword and Havoc staff, like normal. And that is Alcala Skeletor. Nice vintage case. Yes, all of these cases are vintage cases. So this is the 5th vintage case I've got. The next cases that we're going to go into are the fantasy cases, if you remember those that were made by the same company. The next figure I'm bringing out here is Scare Glow. The only difference between this Scare Glow and the other Scare Glow is the fact that I swapped his boots tops out with the Keldor boot tops. So his His boot tops are not as dark purple. They're just regular Skeletor purple, which don't matter to me much because it's Scare Glow. And Scare Glow was one of the harder figures to get there at one point. Got me a Trumpinator yesterday, says I like salt. Pretty cool. And the next figure I'm going to bring out is Mini Comics Red Beastman. And I had to get some red beastly feet for him, and I had to get a red Beastman vintage sculpt head for him. And there he is in all his glory. The Beastman that we remembered from the original storybook, the one that was all in red. And there we go. Had to repaint his chest armor to get that gold color in there. And it's in beastly feet, red beastly feet on him. Red Beastman. Next is a figure that is still a work in progress. I'm working on this loincloth for him. That guy that Grayskull the Origins on Instagram has one of these figures that he made that he actually sculpted the waist on to look like the waist in the mini comic. I'm doing more of a cloth good kind of deal here with felt, trying to mimic that. And of course, I don't have a vintage head yet for him, so I've got a regular head stand in here. And for the waist, I stole one of the wrestlers' trunks because, I don't want you to see the belt and furry shorts underneath there. And we don't need him to be buck naked under there either. So I just kind of left them black. And down here, we've got those feet that were made by Grayskull the Origins, that the barefooted He-Man from that mini comic. And they don't match the color yet. I'm gonna put a wash over them to make them match a little better. But the regular shins, I had the hardest time trying to figure out how I was going to do regular human being shins without boots on for this figure. Well, first of all, the first attempt that I tried was using Naked Stratos's ankles. And that requires some sanding to sand off all the fur that's on them. And that's really going to be a hard trick because they don't match the way they match up with the upper leg, the calf there. But guess who does have naked shins? Do 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 do. John Cena sucks. Do 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 do. John Cena sucks. Do 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 do. Hey kids, it's John Cena. Be sure to drink your milk and cookies, boys and girls. He's got them, and as you can see, I went ahead and put them old furry Naked Stratos shins on him when I took his shins away from him.
It's all right. Most people can't see him anyway.
Yeah. You can't see me. And he's got Ultimate Warrior's spear here that is actually just the same cast spear that was from Masterverse, Savage He-Man. I plan on painting this so that it has a wooden staff and kind of a rock colored point here on the end of it, spearhead. But that's Savage He-Man. And there's some more figures down here on the second layer. So we'll pull that first layer out and put it over here to the side. And I could tell you what, Jonezer, trying to get these vintage cases with intact interior compartments is hard.
I imagine.
Here he is. Here's the one that we've all been making fun of and calling names and telling him he looks retarded in the face and he looks like a cat. It is original release Merman. Now, can you tell me what's different about my original release Merman as compared to the what you would have bought at the store?
You've got vintage armor on them for one, I'm pretty sure.
That is absolutely correct. But this isn't really vintage armor. This, like I said, he's not around anymore, and he's got a little bit of stuff left that he's getting rid of. Barbarossa Customs used to cast the original armors in their original colors in plastic or resin or whatever. And
I've got a few of Barbarossa's stuff in my vintage collection.
yeah, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Yeah, whatever happened to him?
I think he just got tired of fucking around and doing it, or either that or he got burned too many times or something.
Yeah, I could see option 2 for sure. I know he was very popular for a while, and then a lot of complaints come with popularity.
Absolutely. The last I saw, first of all, his eBay store was just kind of everything was gone out of it for the longest time. His website's gone. Then his eBay store came back up again with a few things on it. I'm like, oh, he's back. No, he's just getting rid of overstock that he had. Once he gets rid of that, he's gone for good, guys. So
I wonder too if he got into some kind of legal trouble, because I seen another page that had a lot of stuff that looked like his on it, and it was under a different name, and they were calling the things like, they weren't calling it Beastman feet, they were calling it like Hairy Man feet.
Yeah,
like to probably get around.
Well, that's the same thing those guys are doing over there that are doing those 3D printings,
right,
on shapeways and stuff. They can't call it what it is, but they can call
right,
it something that evokes what it is.
right. So you could be close.
Yeah, and here's old Keldor, of course. I had to get the 2-pack, but of course the armor that he's wearing is not his armor; it's the original Skeletor's armor. I swapped that out, but he's got his boots there with the hard tops on them and everything. His cape. Now, if I'm not mistaken, did they just do a resculpt of the Masterverse head for Keldor?
I can't speak on that because I don't think they had a Masterverse, but they did have a Classics.
Classics, that's what I meant. Classics.
Yeah,
Did they just do a resculpt of Classics head for this?
It sure looks like it.
I think they did. And of course, he had the double green there, and the power sword too, which is not in here. So I must have it somewhere else. Next, we have the power armors. What was it called? Power armor? Is that what it's called?
I didn't hear what you said because it kind of broke up for a half a second.
My bad. The power armor, is that what they call these? Battle armor.
Battle armor or
Battle armor He-Man. There we go. But of course, my battle armor He-Man has got the vac metal on it, because I swapped out his battle torn head and arms and legs for regular head on. It's freezing. Hold on. Am I back?
You are back.
I blipped for a second. Sorry. What I was telling you was I changed out his arms and legs and head for non-battle damaged, just so I could have this my battle armor He-Man to be back metal.
And this is the one that came with the Battle Cat at Target.
That's correct.
I got one of those and I never opened it. And the only reason I even bought it at all is because I seen it clearance down to like $15, and I thought, well, why not?
Yeah, I bought it for the back metal aspect of it. I had the regular one. I've got it around here somewhere. I think it's in the spare part box. But once you get the back metal, it just heads and shoulders better than that other one.
Sure.
And what I was saying earlier, there is a way to pop the arms loose. The arms are on ball joints, kind of like the legs on these figures. So if you heat that upper arm up, it'll just pop off of that ball joint.
Okay.
And he came with a axe and shield and power sword, but his were a little more silver colored,
Right.
kind of shiny with little metal flakes in there to make them sparkle. And then of course we got Battle Armor Skeletor with the he came with the vintage looking head and the other head that was a little kind of angry.
Yeah, and I really liked that frowny faced angry one that it came with.
And so I got him, and of course he came with a shield.
That shield was cool too.
Yeah, along with the aforementioned power sword and havoc staff.
You know, and I don't think the vintage ever had a shield for Skeletor. Which
No,
neat
not
to do that.
Did not, and that's just an extra icing on the cake for that particular figure to come with that shield. And I'm going to put this tray back in here and put this case away. And now we're going to go into the fantasy cases that have the special stuffs all in them. And one is pretty neat, and the other one is got He-Man stuff in it, and one of them don't. So let's see which one's got the He-Man stuff in it. That would be this one. Okay. So who's in here? Well, first of all, we've got the sorceress, the original sorceress, or the green goddess, or the Eternian goddess, whatever you choose to call her. To me, she's the sorceress because that's what she was called originally, was the sorceress. She has the snake motif armor. She has the green coloring. She also came with the same snake staff and shield that came with Tila. But I have given her one other accessory. Instead of the snake staff, I choose this staff here because it looks more like the staff she was holding in that mini comic.
You know, in the DC Comics tackled this again in 2016, somewhere around there, where they did the Eternity War. Mm-hmm. And what they did to tie that green goddess character into the lore is instead, when Tila ascended to the sorceress, she took that form. Okay. I haven't read any of that.
I haven't read any of that modern stuff. As far as any He-Man comic books goes, I got the original mini series that DC Comics did, plus the story that was in DC Presents, and the insert that came in all the comics that month before the miniseries came out.
Just to hit on it quick and move on. Some of the stories they did in there, I enjoyed. They did a little bit of a different take, much like Kevin Smith and some other people did, but theirs was, I think, a little more true to the lore, or just maybe in a different slant. But when they first came out, they were very true to the original look. Then later it got a little sideways and things started to look as they shouldn't. And then they kind of course corrected by the end and started getting back to that original look. But the stories were hit and miss. Some of it I liked and some of it I didn't.
Well, you know, when DC Comics was brought into the fold, the reason that Mattel got that partnership with DC Comics was because they figured that who better to do the mini comics, to go inside the figures, than an actual comic book company with actual comic book writers and artists.
Right.
And so when they approached DC Comics says, sure, we'll be glad to do that for you, but we also want to get the property and make a miniseries comic book with it. And Mattel's like, yeah, more publicity. All publicity is good publicity. And the guys at DC Comics were the ones that were like baffled by the fact that Tila and the sorceress or the goddess looked exactly alike, and what's the difference between them.
Right.
And they're the ones that started out with the idea that the sorceress was called the goddess. If you remember in that first DC Comics Presents, Prince Adam would run off to the cave of power where resided the goddess of Eternia. And she would, and in there, he would change out of his Prince Adam clothes and put on the He-Man garments. And
Now, are you speaking of the DC Comics Presents 47 where he fights Superman?
that's correct. So that it kind of he would go to the cave of power, right, and become He-Man. That's how it would happen, right? Run off there, kind of change into He-Man.
I
And
haven't read it in a while because I can't read mine anymore.
oh, it's a
I
tore
got
up.
it's graded.
You slabbed it.
I got it here if you want to see it.
Sure, you can show it off, but hell, it's slabbed. It might as well just be a paperweight now.
Well, I got a reprint one I can read in
Okay.
graphic novel form. But yeah, I slabbed it. It's actually my favorite comic book in my collection. But let's see if we can get the glare off it.
Yeah, there we go. Now, this was the first time that that green character was referred to as the goddess, and she wasn't green anymore. She was actually had normal skin color.
Yeah, and I believe Adam has the blue
A blue vest, like
get
he
up
did in the original set. That it was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive.
right, and he also has powers as Adam, like he was twisting the dumbbells into knots.
Sure, he's like Clark Kent and Superman, basically.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
was
said,
like, so what's the point of transforming? To be honest with you, if that's what's going on there.
well, he's like Clark Kent, Superman. He's Prince Adam, womanizing and drinking beer at the pub and getting drunk and basically being a playboy ne'er do well prince.
Right.
And then when He-Man is needed, he runs off and takes off his Prince Adam clothes and puts on the He-Man clothes and comes back out of the cave. It's like his phone booth. And the Battle Cat is Cringer, but Cringer's really Battle Cat too. And they just put the Battle Cat armor on him, and he comes out, and then they go fight the bad guy Skeletor.
Right, and the main reason why I wanted to preserve the comic, and it's got so many first appearances in there for the first appearance He-Man, first appearance Skeletor, first appearance Castle Grayskull, Beastman.
And
You
well,
know,
a lot of people don't realize this, but the character of Manny Faces appeared first in the DC Comics miniseries before his figure was even released.
I did not know that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the Manny Faces confused the hell out of me when I first read that comic until the figure was released, and then it made a little more sense. But yeah, that was where the term of the goddess came from to refer to the sorceress, was in that comic. And that led into it was in a letters page in the back of I think the miniseries. It was back in the letters page. Somebody was writing in about Tila, and they said, well, we're going to answer that question in one of the mini comics that's coming out with the figures later on this year. And they did with the tale of Tila, where she was basically a clone created by Skeletor so that he could make her his bride. How creepy.
Right.
And that took an aspect away from the goddess to make Tila. And they had to recombine at one point so they get their full powers to defeat Skeletor, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Huh. I like Salt says I learned several new things each time I watch this channel. We're just full of it, aren't we? I finally found the email. Will do. Thank you, sir. All right. The Attorney of War was pretty awesome. It ties up some plot threads. You're talking about the comic you're talking about.
Yes. Yes.
Boba Hicks is showing us 3 planets here, I think that's what that is. Shaitan's Hammer said, I did that with my Keldor. His head is classics, according to Pixel Dan. Well, Pixel Dan would know, right?
You should.
Let's go up a little bit and see what people were saying here. Yes, please like and subscribe. Bill is on his road to 700. One away. I'm at 699 if I don't lose any in the next couple of days. Only one missing. You can make the difference. Right. Satan's Hammer says, awesome Beastman. He's talking about my red Beastman, I do believe. Trumpinator. How would this figure look like? You got my attention, sir. I've never. I like Salt said he got a Trumpinator yesterday. I'm not going to tread down that too far here on this family channel here. I've never seen an original case in the wild, said Masters Maniac Mexico Rolo. Yes, I bought these cases off of eBay, and one of the things that I found, if you're in the mood to buy these cases, what you'll see is you'll see a case for sale. It looks like hell. Well, they can be bent back into shape and look pretty nice when you do bend them back into shape. The other thing is they all look like they only have one tray in them. So it looks like they're missing the second tray. 9 times out of 10, the 2 trays are there. They're just nested inside of one another. If you look at these trays, one tray will have a little notch at the top that looks like a 1 in the corner. If you'll take the other tray and turn it upside down, instead of nesting, they set on top of one another. Most people nested their trays, and then whoever found it thought there was only one tray in it. So they'll sell it for a lower price thinking that there's only one tray in it. But most of the time, if you go in and buy it, it'll have both trays in it. Who else is in here? One of my favorite characters here these days has been Clawful. Poor old Clawful. He's been abused pretty bad by Drunk He-Man over there on Mr. Home Arcade's channel, where they tore his arms and legs off to boil them and eat them, making him clawless, who has no legs and has trap jaw-like replacement arms on him. But if you remember my Instrument of War story, Clawful was the first one to tell Skeletor, fuck you, Skeletor, I'm not going up there.
There's a great story. One of the animators, if you watch, he was talking about some stuff he wanted to put into the cartoon, and there was a scene where Skeletor was ranting at the evil people, and Clawful supposedly looks at his claw and kind of mocks him. And the guy was ordered to take it out. It didn't go into the cartoon.
Oh, man.
And they said that was kind of a bummer for the people working on the cartoon. It's like, you couldn't do anything fun. He's like, well, I didn't understand that. Like, what was the point of that? Like, they couldn't have saved money. He already animated it. Or storyboarded it, or whatever he did.
I blipped bad. Am I back?
Yeah, first one since we fixed it.
Yeah. All right. So, Skeletor really treated his minions like crap, did he not?
For the most part.
So why not have them mock him behind his back? If you remember the so-called evil teachers in school, the ones that were the most strict and the ones that everybody hated.
Sure.
Did you not mock them behind their back? I know I did.
1,000%.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, this phone here is about to go dead. Tells you how long I've been on the air. And
yeah, speaking of which, I'm probably going to have to cut out in about 10, 15 minutes. My wife's going to be coming home with groceries, and if I don't help her unload them, I'm going to be dead.
Yeah, I can imagine. I got you. Well, we're gonna put a hurry on this so we can finish up. We've got one more case to go after this one, and we'll be done. And we're going through these pretty fast, so we need to quit expounding, I guess. Gabbing. Here's Leech. Yeah, his arm is popped out.
Why don't you put that toy cam back up, Bill, so they can see it better?
Oh, my bad. There we go. Yeah, here's old Leech. I've got his regular hands and his Leech head instead of the sucker cup head. Why did I buy Leech? I just saw him on the shelf and bought him. I think he's the only Horde member that I actually have. But he's kind of neat with all of his different little accessories and everything. In the bottom of this case, I have this He-Man who has this head on him. Kind of the I have the power head.
Sure.
And he's special because he's got a vintage harness on. And in my play, the vintage harness and the harness that came on Origins He-Man are his force field vest and his strength vest. And in here is also another Evil Lynn extra figure that I bought. And if you remember, when I took her out of the package, her damn ankle broke loose. And the final figure that's in this particular package is one that's going to be featured in an upcoming story if I ever get it done. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not before, but I showed her off way back last year. Tila, Bride of Skeletor. Yeah. There we go. Put her back up. Put this back up. Let's see. I'm surprised they didn't actually make a Catman. It seemed like an easy thing to do, says Shaitan's Hammer. Did that with my Keldor. His head is classic according to Pixel Dan. We talked about that. Patriot Products. I guess he's talking about the Trumpinator. Tila goes through some interesting looks throughout DC's Eternia War. I have to admit that I always look at Clawful. I want some clams. I personally think that the Origins Leech is a little better than the vintage one. I simply love his quasical head.
I agree with that. In fact, that's the one I put on is not the suction cuppy head, but the other one.
Yeah, the suction cuppy head was fun to play with as a kid because he would stick to stuff, but he looked kind of goofy, right?
Absolutely.
All right, and final case of the day, and that's going to bring the end of the show to finally. This has been a long one today. We've been on for 3 hours and 23 minutes. Wow. This case has got mostly just custom work in here. First of all, we have Galaxy Warrior Remco Leech. Not Leech, excuse me, Iguana. And I finally finished him. He's got a shield. He's got an axe. He's got vintage armor from the Galaxy Warriors on. He's got black shin guards, and he's got green feet. There he is, Iguana. Next, we have Remco's Warlord, Travis Morgan, from the Hollow Earth. And I've got a reproduction vintage sword for him. And I made his cape from felt like I did the Man-at-Arms cape. There's Warlord. Next, we have, I think his name is Baltard. He looks like a kind of a pirate with an eye patch on. Galaxy Fighter, Galaxy Warrior. You see that?
I do.
Next,
these are customs made out of Origins parts.
That's correct. And Lee Customs did all the heads for me. Next, did you know that Remco did a Conan line that was not based upon the movie? It was not based upon anything that was done at the time. It was more based upon, I want to say, the original novels, maybe, but not
Sure.
quite. But here he is. I got the Conan head from Lee Customs. This is a repro of the sword that came with that figure. I gave him a He-Man shield with a little repaint there. The boots, he's got a boot knife here that's made by Talos Dream Shop, and Papa Shango's necklace in place of any kind of armor. So Conan, we've seen him on the show before. And getting down into the case, recently I did Remco's Hercules. And here he is with the Hercules head. He's got Pig Man, is that his name? Pig Man's waist, Pig Head's waist. And repainted Space Sumo boots. I painted them a kind of a brown. I repainted the bracers here to kind of match the way the bracers looked on the Hercules. This is some stretchy kind of thread that you can buy at Walmart. It kind of looks just like what came on that figure. And of course, the figure came with this wooden staff or / club, shillelagh, whatever it is. And I picked one of these up off of eBay to complete him out.
I've got one of those in my parts box.
Yep, came with Hercules. And he also came with Mikola, too, I believe. Mikola came with the same staff.
You're pretty knowledgeable of those old Remco Galaxy Warriors figures.
Yeah, a little bit.
I might have I'll send you a picture of a couple of them I got. Maybe you could tell me something about them.
I might can. Now, I'm working on a vintage version of Arak, Son of Thunder. What I have here is an actual vintage figure of him. When Lee finally gets around to casting that head for it, I've already got the parts for the body in my parts box. But what he's wearing here is a reproduction vest and a reproduction loincloth. And he's got reproduction of his knife and tomahawk. But this is a vintage figure right here.
Okay.
And finally, these guys have these funny names, and I get them confused. One of them looks more retarded than the other one. But this guy here is either Baltard or what was that other one's name? I can't remember it right off the bat. But anyway, he's another one of those Galaxy Warriors.
That's one of the ones I got, but he's pink or purple skin tone.
They all had different skin tones. I like this guy to be in a regular flesh tone. So I had Lee to sculpt me a head in a regular flesh tone. These guys, even when they were released by Remco, came in various colors, a light purple, blue. Sometimes the heads didn't even match the bodies that they were attached to when it came to colors.
In this one, the head and the body match, but I want to say his skin is like a light purple.
Yeah. And Lee cast it in that color as well. Excuse me. As a matter of fact, a lot of people had asked me about Iguana back there. They said, well, his head's a lighter color than his body. So the original figure was the same way.
Right.
So no, it doesn't matter. And finally, do you remember the origins of Evil 2-pack came with another character?
The space armor deal?
It came with a character called Cronus.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Trap Jaw back in the day.
Yeah, that was the worst figure ever, was it not? Kind of just really bland.
You know, I kind of liked it, but that's just because I liked the idea of Trap Jaw looking differently and then being wounded.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's different from his mini comic origin. They did pay it mind in the 2000X show or in the DC comics. They showed you different versions of how he got wounded.
Well, I don't know if you caught it, but way back in the day, I showed you how to kind of make a better Cronus using Stone Cold Steve Austin's Masters of the WWE Universe figure, which came with a removable jaw and a silver arm and a silver belt with some attachments on it. So here we have a Cronus that looks a little bit better. I always wanted to paint his face green. So, and that chest piece there that's vintage. That's off of a vintage trap jaw.
Okay.
They're cheap enough, and it just pops on there. And when you pop this on there, it holds it on there just like the old vintage figure. And that's everything that's in my cases. Of course, that's not all the collection. I have Tilo with Zor, and I have Mechanic with the road Road Ripper. Damn it!
It'll always be the Road Ripper.
Absolutely. Anyway, I have that, but they're put away in a storage container that's in the other room that I'm not going to climb up to get today. But anyway, the day shows is over. We're putting things away now and getting ready to say our piece with everyone. What have you done here recently on your channel there, Jonezer? What was the last video you put up, man?
It was the Frosta with Shadow Weaver. A lot of my problem is I'm kind of losing passion for doing these unboxings, and really the thing that's keeping me in is I like to do that little bit where I dig into the backstory.
Yeah, I like that.
Just to make it different than everybody else's unboxings, to put my own stamp on it. And so I've got this backlog of unboxings I got to do. So I just grabbed 2 random figures just because I'm trying to catch up. But I mean, I've got some superpowers to do, those new McFarlanes, and I found some of those Ninja Turtle classics that I wanted to do, and kind of do them in the same style, where I do a little digging and go into the origins of the character or what they meant to me as a child, just to put my own spin on it. I don't want to do your typical, Pixel Dan unboxing where you just open it up, talk about the articulation and then the box art.
I'm sick of saying the same thing. The figure moves at the waist and the arms and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and it's like I just want to. I can't be Pixel Dan. He's the best at being Pixel Dan. I can't be Toy Habits or anything. I can only be me. So what can I bring that's me that they can't bring? And that can only be my perspective and what I got out of it. So that's what I try to focus on in my unboxings, is trying to give my take on it, because you can't get my take from them. There's got to be a reason to watch.
Yeah, and I love
the other guys is way better.
Well, here's the thing: when you go into your detail about the origin of the figure, it's your telling of that, not mine, not Dan's, not anybody else's. It's yours, and I want to see what your thoughts are, what your play pattern is, because your play pattern may not be my play pattern, but it might influence it a little bit. What video? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nugget of something I missed when I was doing my research. I may blip just a second. My internet connection went slow here. John says, well, I just got back. Wow, 3 hours. You need to start over again from about 2 hours ago and recap what I missed. No, what you do is you go back and rewatch the video and get my watch hours up. That's what you do. Shaitan's Hammer said, Warlord is so neat. Vintage Remco is more costly than MOTU, and he's correct on that. Because there were so fewer of them made. There were so many MOTU figures made back in the day, but there were so few of these Remcos. And all those in the attic and basement says, I like salt. It was a gigantic show. Thank you, Bill. Deep dives to dive so deep with us. You're welcome, sir. Unboxing is a very special event. That is when you're going to play with the toys and do customizations. My email is conflicting with me for just a second. There we go. Got it out of the way. It says, I like sausage. Your animations are great, Bill. Thank you, sir. There are other people who do much better work than I do. Justin Ross is one of them. I'm not Justin Ross. I do the best I can. Even Jonezer does a better job of animation than I do, but I do the best I can with what I have to work with. I do like your animations, Jonezer, but tell them how long it takes just to make the figure do this.
Forever, I'm looking more like our buddy Brushstroke. He has a little more of a simplified style, and I'm looking to kind of blend what he does or take what works with what he does and go back into what I did and try to my hand at him again, maybe make some shorts, with them.
Well, I found that you don't need to make the motion be smooth. Justin Ross's animation is just as smooth as it can be. Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay to have 15 millisecond intervals in there, or 30-second, 2 frames per second, 3 frames per second instead of 30. I mean, you're not going to do 30 pictures just to do 1 second of animation. No.
People do, though. And I'll be honest with you, to answer your question, to get like 30 seconds of an animation takes forever. Could take hours.
Yeah, I found myself, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. I cheat. I reuse sections of animation over and over and over again. But hell, Filmation did the same damn thing.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Jonezer, do you have any further thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, I don't. My wife just showed up with the groceries, and I better get my husbandly butt up the stairs to help bring them in the house before I'm dead.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you go take care of that. We'll tell everybody else. Good journey. Until next time, have a good one, folks.
Special thanks to these supporters on Patreon. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like and subscribe and share the video.